about possible plans to transfer some Gitmo detainees to the United States.
House Armed Services Committee member Jackie Walorski says she's concerned over reports that Pentagon officials are visiting potential sites that could house the inmates. Just under half of the 116 detainees currently housed at Guantanamo have been approved for transfer to other countries, but that leaves 64 others that would have to come to the U.S. in order to close the Guantanamo facility. Walorski supports keeping Gitmo open.
Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. Russia says the United Nations Security Council is discussing a draft resolution to address Europe's migrant crisis. The measure will likely authorize the inspection of suspected migrant ships. That's dialed back from a resolution earlier this year that would have authorized a European Union mission to inspect and seize suspected migrant smuggling ships. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And, of course, you can bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. We've got Skype as well. It's Skype username LRN.FM. With you in studio tonight. Ian here.
Tarrin P. Lupo.
And Mark.
Tarrin, you wanted to talk tipping tonight.
That's right.
And you apparently had done some bartending at some point in your past.
I did. Actually, my very first job, I was 14, and it was the only job I could get.
14-year-old bartender.
No.
That's pretty impressive.
I was 14. I was serving. I worked at a Bob's Big Boy. They have those up here. It's like a Shoney's.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but they do not
I know
have
what a
up here.
Shoney's is, but yeah, I've never seen a Bob's Big Boy.
Bob's Big Boy is kind of their alter ego down south. And,
that's the same company?
Yeah,
oh,
Marriott, I think, owns both.
Okay.
It was interesting because at the time it was the only job a kid that you could, I guess the work permits, I don't know how I got around it back then, but I did. I guess they weren't really enforced in the 80s.
Well, it's legal, at least it is now, and when I was growing up, it was legal to work at age 14, but most places wouldn't hire a 14-year-old.
I guess. I don't know why I got hired. I just... I got lucky. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, but if a place had the right, if they were prepared for the rules, because there were rules for 14 and 15-year-olds. I can only speak to the 80s, all right? I don't know what the rules are now.
Yeah, that's when I worked.
I imagine it's similar. So 14 and 15-year-olds had a set of rules. 16 and 17-year-olds had a set of rules.
That's right.
And then basically you could work at 18.
Right. They would actually make you give a 14 or 15-year-old even more breaks than you'd have to give a 16 or 17-year-old. And it's just so cost prohibitive to hire somebody at that age if you have to give them all these other bonuses just because they're a certain age. So if you're going to hire a teenager, you might as well hire a 16-year-old because it's less of a hassle.
I have no idea how I got hired, honestly, because back in the day, maybe people weren't really signing up to be servers or something. But at the time, I really needed money in high school. And so I signed on to work as a waiter, and I learned how to do it. And I did it all through high school. So I did it for about 4 years. And I remember that the time I think the pay was $2.01 an hour. So it was $2, wow. And because you were supposed to live on tips.
That's right.
Okay, this is server. Okay,
servers.
That's right.
So
yeah, I think servers are still only getting like free something.
That they're around that now, right?
It's not much more than that.
And I remember getting so irritated because people don't realize that you have to come early and then roll silverware and get paid $2 an hour to roll silverware and clean.
Oh, really?
and then you had to clean the booth, and you had to sweep the floors because you couldn't use a vacuum while people are eating. You know, you'd have to sweep the booths and wipe everything out. So the setup and breakdown would take almost 2 hours that you were making $2 an hour for.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. And
Well, you're supposed to. That's what I was explained when I had my serving job. Is that essentially the $2 an hour is for setup and breakdown, and then you're working for your tips when you're on the clock.
yeah. And at the time, I mean, that was the understanding. But at the time, I don't think people understand that when they go into restaurants that, you know, the waiters are making $2 to $3 an hour, and they're depending on.
I
these
wonder
tips
how
to
many
live.
people do understand that, because I certainly, nobody told me that until I was in my early 20s. I didn't find that out until later.
A lot of people just don't know. They think, oh, well, they're getting a salary. Why should I tip them? And then they don't realize that, no, they're not really getting a salary. They're getting $2 or $3 an hour, which is ridiculous. So
I don't think when I waited tables, and I waited tables for months, I got stiffed twice.
Yeah, that was going to be my question for you, Tarrin, you're making the statement about what people know, but how often did you get screwed over?
A lot, because
Percentage of the time.
I worked at a low end. You go to a place that's a buffet, you don't expect to tip much. But what they don't realize is someone has to bring your drink, someone has to clean up your endless eating that you're doing, and that kid that you were just letting throw their food all over the booth, guess who gets to clean that?
Sure.
And they're like, oh, well, it's a buffet. I got the food myself. Here's $1. So it was.
Yeah, I think I've certainly thought that in my life. You're
Is
right.
that not the appropriate amount to tip at a buffet? Because that was my understanding of buffet tipping. See, here I am. I'm in my mid 30s, and now you're telling me that
someone's got to clean up after you. It depends if you bus your own table.
Sure,
and
but
put
the busser normally doesn't get tipped, right? Doesn't the busser get
I
an
was at a
hourly
place
rate?
that didn't have a busser, so we
Okay.
had to clean up our own. And if you
But
ordered,
doesn't bussers does not a busser normally receive an hourly rate?
They
that
get a
is
better pay usually.
Standard pay.
They sometimes they do, and but they sometimes also get pooled tip
Pooled
pools.
tips. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
if you had a good,
It depends on the restaurant.
right, and a lot of times the waiters, I would throw money. Later on, when I worked somewhere else, I would throw money at a busser because they could make you move tables faster and you could make more money. So if you had someone that would clean up after you and bust your tables back and forth, I could focus on taking orders and running food. So what would happen was if you got a good, someone to clean up after you that was fast, you would tip them because you made more money. It was a team effort. And then the guys
Sure.
that really didn't like you, they wouldn't help you. They would just let your food sit on the table. So
Let me read
the
this.
bussers.
This is from TripAdvisor.com. Tipping practices can vary depending on the location in the U.S.,
Yep.
and even published guidance can vary greatly depending upon the source. Cheapskates have carved out several exceptions. For example, some Americans don't tip at a buffet restaurant, but it's generally good form to tip from $1 to $2 per person for waitstaff, just clearing several
That
rounds.
is generally what I do.
Several rounds of plates, to as much as 10% if the waitstaff is refilling drinks and providing other services. The general rule is to tip a portion of the service and the quality of service being a proportion to the service and the quality of service being delivered. So
yeah, if you tipped per plate, so you're a family of 6, you come in and you're giving $1 or $2 a plate, not a bad deal. Okay, so if you go out
At
with
a
your buddies
buffet.
at a buffet, not a big deal. But what happened was the family of 6 would tip $2 total.
oh, I see what you're saying now. And the one thing that families have to consider is if you've got small children and they decide to repaint the table with ice cream, then that's more work for the server, right?
Are buffet servers getting paid server rate, or are they getting paid a standard minimum
when I did
wage
it
hourly rate?
server rate, it was still $2 an hour.
Wow.
And so what happened with a buffet is you got a much bigger section. So in other words, in higher end restaurants, your section only might be 4 tables to take care of.
Right, but at a buffet, you're just
But a buffet,
bringing drinks
my
and clearing.
section was 12 to 14 tables because you're just running drinks. But what people forget is, when they order a milkshake, I got to go back there and make a milkshake and bring it out. It's not like I had a machine, we're hand making these things and scooping ice cream and, it sets you back 5-10 minutes. So you are doing a lot of work for the drink part. And then you're doing a lot of work on the cleanup damage. So, there's a lot of hustle at a buffet. And the way to make money is you just flip tables as fast as you can. You hustle people through. And
Yeah,
and that's
interesting.
why Big Boys hired 14-year-olds, because no real server would do that crap.
Take that job.
You're essentially a soda jerk from the
Well,
the
yeah,
back
you're
of
a
the day.
That's pretty
glorified
much it.
busboy, right? I mean, that's
But I got to work like he said, I had a job at 14 where I couldn't do much besides
you
dig
had more
ditches.
money in your pocket than any other 14-year-old
it was
in your
awesome.
high school.
It was crazy because, and then what was nuts is they let me work the graveyard shift. So, all right, I would go to school. I would go to rugby practice, and when I got done at 6 or 7, I would grab a bite to eat and go to work from 8 to 3 in the morning, and then get up and go to school again.
That's bananas.
But I needed the money.
You
So-
needed to stop rugby practice is what you needed to do,
Nah,
son.
man, that was the only fun in my life. So it was nuts because 3 or 4 nights a week I would be doing that, and I would just be a zombie in school, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but you know, I was able to make it and pay some bills and stuff like that.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, maybe you've worked in the hospitality industry
Yeah.
and you've got an absolutely nightmare tipping story, or on the other hand, maybe you have like an awesome tipping story. Like, what was the best tip you ever received? If you want to tell us your story, you're welcome to join us here at 855-450-FREE. And I'd like you
And
to,
I'll
if
share.
you could, yeah,
I'll
if you
share
can
that
recall
for
your
sure.
best
My
tip
best
ever.
tip was a really weird one.
Because that's going to be something that you're going to remember that. Whatever it is, you're going to remember the best tip ever. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. We also have Skypes if you want to sound really good. You want to sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us in some cases. That's how good Skype can sound. And by the way, they're not an advertiser or anything. It's just that's what people are on. So that's what we're using here. Skype username is lrn.fm. Again, that's username lrn.fm. You just send a contact request if you're not on our list yet, and we'll approve you, and you'll be good to go to call on Skype from that point forward. This is Free Talk Live. Your tipping stories and thoughts are welcome.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to say. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Do you owe the IRS money? Do you have years of unfiled returns? Has the IRS garnished your wages or put a lien against your house? The IRS has the power to make you pay back what they claim you owe and will stop at nothing to collect. If you are losing sleep over your IRS tax problem, there is a solution. Call Signature Tax now. Speak with our professionals and feel the weight of your tax burden lifted from your shoulders. Call 800-643-4661 for your free and confidential analysis on ending your tax nightmare. We can help get your life back on track and give you the fresh start you deserve. Our A-plus BBB-rated tax resolution team has over 125 years of combined experience to get you the best deal possible while stopping the IRS dead in their tracks. Call Signature Tax now at 800-643-4661. Call 800-643-4661. Again, that's 800-643-4661. 800-643-4661.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
Now more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Oops. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Had the Skype unmuted there and got somebody coughing in their microphone.
Nice.
My bad. All right. Yeah, it's Free Talk Live with you tonight. Ian.
And this Tarrin P. Lupo.
And Mark, just really impressed with how professional the show is.
I am.
Really,
yeah,
I just
really
take it right to the gutter.
Really on the ball here tonight. That's why they pay me the big bucks, right? Oh, wait. No, they don't. This is radio.
Big money, big money.
Talk radio. Hey, toll-free number if you want to join us here with your best tipping story. Tarrin wanted to talk about tipping here. Dr. Tarrin Lupo is with us here in the studio from TarrinLupo.com. You don't have a tipping video up, do you?
I do not. I would just heard this podcast right as I was driving in, and I thought about it, and it brought back a bunch of memories. So I'll have to share first what my strangest customer was.
Oh, that's a good one. All right.
Strangest customer, and then also my best tip. My strangest customer was, well, I had two of them. I had an OCD lady that would come in on Tuesdays and order two of everything and set a plate across from her.
Hold up. Wasn't this a buffet?
It was, but she ordered two iced teas, two plates.
Okay.
She wanted two sets of silverware, and she would set it up, and she would have two forks, two knives. Everything had to be in twos, and then she would walk in and count her steps, and if she missed, she'd go back to the front and do it again.
Did she count her steps on the way back?
Yeah.
Like this is you're not legit OCD if you've got to go back to count your steps and you don't count your steps there. I mean,
that's a good point. And then
I love crazies. This is something.
And she always tipped $2, so hey, it was all right. But then the really crazy one came in on. Now I worked a graveyard shift, so what happened was I lived near Washington D.C.
You were 14. Working a graveyard shift?
Yeah, I don't know how.
Now,
this
what is
happened.
graveyard? Is that 3 a.m. to?
It closed. Yeah, you close at 2, and then no, actually, we closed at 3 in the morning, and then you were out the door by 4 after cleanup.
Wow.
So what would happen?
That's a late running buffet.
Well, D.C. had. I lived right outside of D.C., so all these people would go to the clubs, and then the clubs threw everybody out around 2 o'clock,
and they'd come there,
and they would roll, and we were the only thing open. So it was a complete freak show between 2 to 3 o'clock of drunks. And so it was always a really interesting weekend when you worked.
I bet it was. You got to deal with that stuff at Denny's, too, right?
Oh, my gosh.
See
like
it all the
women
time.
would be tipping you their bras or, you'd find like underwear in the bathroom. You'd like, what?
You were 14 years old. It was the most eye-opening year you've ever experienced, I bet.
And so the weirdest person I had would show up on a night. And
Did you ever get invited to an after party or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, sure. But I was like, I got school. Right. I got to be in class in 3 hours.
Wow, I'm amazed they would even. I'm sorry to interrupt the story, but I'm amazed that you could even get away with working legally.
I guess in the 80s it was different. They didn't care.
It must have been because I'm sure that they would. There's some sort of rule. Maybe it was just in Florida.
I don't know how I got away with it.
I'm pretty sure there's some kind of rule that you can't work a young person below a certain age after a certain time at night. On a school night.
Yeah, maybe that changed. I don't know.
Tarrin's old enough that those child labor laws were just getting phased out.
Yeah, they were probably just coming and going, and I just had managers that didn't care. I don't know.
All right, so you have another weird customer story?
Much weirder.
Hold on with that one. I want to
weirder.
go to Liberty Phoenix, who is on the line via Skype. Hey there, Phoenix.
Hey guys, Tarrin, I'm kind of surprised and
do me a
glad
favor,
that you
back
brought
off
this.
your mic a little bit, man. You're a little loud.
How's this one?
A little better, I guess. Go ahead.
What's up, Phoenix?
Not too much. I actually used tipping today as kind of a form of activism. I went and got my haircut today, and I tried to entice some of the barbers to give up their license, their little permission slips, and if they didn't have a permission slip, I'd give them a $50 tip the next time I came in. Now, whether or not any of them bite,
to give
I
up
don't know.
their license, meaning that they're supposed to send their barber license back to the state? Is that what
Or
you're
just
saying?
not renew it?
Yeah, or just not renew it, or just work without one. Basically, just tried to convince them that they don't need a permission slip to cut people's hair, and that if they would do that, I'd tip them $50 every time.
Damn.
Well, I'm happy to talk to people about the
$50.
idea of a lack of permission slips, but and like how government licensing, is a problem and what it does, how it perverts the marketplace and things like that. But I don't know that there's any. I don't know that this is activism, right? Like this is just confusing to people.
Yeah, I kind of see it could work. I mean, come on, man. If you were,
Why should I give up my driver's license?
Well, it's more of I went to people.
Marketplace. You have to provide an incentive, right? Everything is a marketplace essentially. So you have to provide these people an incentive to step away from the
Nobody
state.
working in a licensed barber shop is going to give up their barber's license if that indeed is something that you have to have in Illinois. I don't know if it exists in all states, but nobody's going to give up a barber's license just to get a $50 tip from you, because then they'll be too afraid of having an armed goon squad come in there and put them in handcuffs for continuing to operate.
Plus, you're the only person that's going to give them $70 for a haircut.
I like the idea, but in West Virginia,
I don't like the idea.
Why not
wait a
offer
second.
them?
These agorists believe that this is activism. No, it isn't. It's just giving a haircut without a license. It's not activism.
I think anytime you do something without a license on purpose is activism.
Hold on. It is activism if you do it in front of the licensing bureaucracy.
I would agree.
And make a civil disobedience out of it.
I would encourage Liberty Phoenix to get his butt out in front of the cosmetology licensing organization and go ahead and give a haircut out there.
That'd be awesome. It's been a decade since that happened.
I was actually thinking of setting up a chair in front of City Hall and just offering haircuts for like $1.
You're going to prison in Illinois for doing something like that.
It's been done here. I remember
it's been done in New Hampshire.
Yeah, in New Hampshire. What was that? The manicurist, right?
The outlaw manicurist.
He got arrested too.
Done twice actually. And what happened with that? I think they dropped his charges though, Mark. I don't think he went to jail for that one. I don't
feel like
remember.
he did. I think they got so much weird press that they just let it go.
I don't remember. It's literally been, or maybe he took a plea and got some slap on the hand sentence. It's been a decade since that happened.
Yeah, for people that don't know what that is, Ian, what happened? You recount?
One of the earliest movers for the Free State Project conducted this civil disobedience where he gave someone a manicure in front of the licensing bureaucracy in Concord, New Hampshire, and announced in advance he was going to be doing it. So they had the police
really
there.
arrested him.
They really did. Of course they did. They're serious about this
I don't
stuff.
think that it's. I don't think they do it now in New Hampshire. They realized what a pile of poo.
You don't think they would do it? Why don't you test them?
I'm not going to Concord. I'm not spending the gas to waste my time to do this.
Did David?
I don't believe it's activism.
Do you remember David Ridley was doing the illegal puppet shows?
Yes.
And questioning. In New Hampshire, supposedly you have to have a license to perform puppet shows. I guess.
No. There was some other thing he was.
It was a puppet show that he was.
That was what he was doing, but I don't think there was a license for that.
I thought that was the point of the activism.
It was a law.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
remember.
remember.
And he was doing it on the Concord steps.
I think at the very least it's a conversation starter.
All right,
yeah,
and especially in Illinois, that's about the best I'll get here in Illinois. So.
Come back.
Yeah, it's going to start a conversation. That's true. But as far as like tipping activism, in my opinion, the best tipping activism you can do, and the one most likely to succeed of the two that we're discussing here tonight, is to offer an extra tip in Bitcoin. So to tip, to tip in whatever currency, so U.S. dollars, and then offer, hey, if you install a Bitcoin wallet on your phone, I'll go ahead and give you X amounts of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
That's a good one.
As a tip.
Bitcoin is the jackpot of agorism, that's for sure.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Phoenix. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Coming up, Tarrin's other strange customer story.
Really strange.
And then the best tip he ever received. And yours are welcome, too. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Honey, why are there fish swimming in our bathtub?
Aren't they cute? You need more omega-3s, and those fish oil pills with toxins and heavy metals are scary. So I'm making fish oil from scratch.
Oh boy, didn't I tell you I'm ordering Nutrigold fish oil? It's exceptionally pure.
That's what they all say.
No, really. Nutrigold's fish oil is concentrated from pure cold water fish straight off the Alaskan coast and manufactured right here in the USA.
Well, cold Alaskan waters are much more pristine than the polluted waters that other fish oils are sourced from.
That's what I'm saying. And it's 5-star certified to meet international purity, potency, and freshness standards.
Well, that sounds even better.
Great. I'll be in my office ordering a few bottles. If I order now on www.fishoil.best, I can save $5 using the promo code MyFishOil. Honey, why are there bees in my office?
Get rid of those fish burps for good. Go to Nutrigold's U.S.-made fish oil products by going to www.fishoil.best and get $5 off by entering MyFishOil at checkout.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
The human body is more than 60% water. Your brain and muscles are 75% water. And your blood is 92% water. Water's vital to your body, and alkalizing your water is the key to keep it running at its best. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops keep your entire body healthy, boosts energy, promotes weight loss, and even fights cancer. Call 800-518-7615 or go to alkavision.com to find out more. That's alkavision.com.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us and tell your best tipper story. Or if you remember the worst tipper, you can tell that one too. I imagine it'd be a little harder to remember The bad tippers, you probably want to forget them. But Tarrin Lupo wanted to discuss these things tonight. As somebody who's formerly in the hospitality industry, Tarrin, that's your experience. You did some dishwashing, you did some serving, you did some busing. And,
bartending.
The longer you work with the public, the more interesting stories, the more interesting
you hate
characters.
them. Yeah.
I kind of miss doing retail because you just don't. You get characters on the radio, but you don't get to experience them in their full grandeur. You don't get to smell them on the radio like you do.
It's kind of different when you're older because you don't take any guff. Like once I had enough money and I was just bartending for fun for extra cash, whole different attitude because you don't have to survive on this money so much that you don't put up with mean people or rude people. I'd call them to the floor and tell them to get out.
And also, young people are taught to respect their elders, and that goes just a little too far. Yes, many young people need to know how to respect their elders, and I'm not arguing that. But I will say that what the message that gets given to young people is you should put up with a lot of crap simply because somebody is older than you.
Oh yeah,
and you should not put up with a lot of crap simply because somebody is older than you.
Rude is rude no matter what age.
And people will, and people, like this is told to everybody. It's universal, right? So older people understand I can treat a younger person poorly because they're younger and they're likely to put up with it. And of course, employers are sort of the opinion if you're younger, you should treat older people. And so it's this cycle. So if I was somehow magically like a movie transported back into my 15-year-old self, I don't know what that would be like because it would be pretty bad because my 15-year-old self would be like, oh, hell no.
So if you are ready to try the Bitcoin tipping option that we discussed a few moments ago, well, you need to have Bitcoin. And you can go and get your Bitcoin as well as Litecoin and Dogecoin from expresscoin.com. It's fast, safe, easy, and inexpensive, and they are a licensed money services business. You can get cryptocurrency with money order or check. Just get started at expresscoin.com. Whether you're in the U.S. or Canada, it's expresscoin.com. Do it from your smartphone by downloading the app at expresscoin.com. And here's the real reason to use ExpressCoin. You don't have to pay a transfer fee on orders less than $40. So your first time buying Bitcoin, no transfer fee with expresscoin.com. Use code FTL to get that deal. If you don't use code FTL, you don't get that deal.
Also, a cool thing about Bitcoin, and this is really important to note, is these legacy currencies like the U.S. dollar. How long has this thing been around? This is old technology. Yeah, it's established, and it has and that has value in and of itself. But I was trying to transfer some money, to buy something, and it's sizable. I've got to do all kinds of wire transfers and get this piece of paper signed and, do a variety of things. With Bitcoin, it would take me potentially, depending on where I was in the process. But if you emailed me your Bitcoin wallet address or an account number or whatever you want to call it, I could transfer you money within 2 minutes instead of something huge. And it would cost me pennies.
A good portion of that 2 minutes would be opening your email box, I would think, and then copying the email or the wallet address. The actual sending of Bitcoin is really very
pushing
fast.
The button is instantaneous.
Yeah,
basically.
It kind of makes me wonder what's ever going to happen to Western Union and all that once this takes off. They're going to die for what they cost for how expensive it. I don't know if you've ever used it.
Yeah, of course.
It's outrageously expensive.
These poor people are spending so much money trying to send people money all around the world with Western Union and MoneyGram and such. Anyway, let's continue here. Right. So don't forget, expresscoin.com, code FTL. Let's go to you with your stories. I know, Tarrin, you're going to tell us your strangest customer story here in a moment. But I want to hear first from John in Minnesota, listening to WNMT. Hello, John.
Hello.
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
One guy was. I was driving in this place, and I told him I had trouble with my radiator in the car, and he took a look at it and everything, and he told me, and he gave me an estimate, $200-300. So I said, I'm going to check around. So I went to another place, and the guy fiddled around with it, and he says, "Here's your problem." He saved me all that money, so I gave him $1. It was a silver dollar, and it was worth about $20-25 at that time. The guy said he'd never seen one. I said, "Well, just don't spend it. Go to a coin shop, and they'll tell you how much that's worth. A whole lot more than $1." And and that's the biggest tip I ever gave.
That's a cool story.
That is a cool tip.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, that's insulting. And then when you said it was a silver dollar, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice one.
And it gets people's attention, too. This is something this is before Bitcoin. I used to be one of the Liberty Dollar associates, which, Tarrin, were you one of those?
I was too.
That's what I thought.
I used to.
So, yeah, you and I down in the Southeast, we're Liberty Dollar associates. And that means we had these 1-ounce silver Liberty pieces, typically. We'd carry them around. And did you ever successly, Tarrin, get someone to take that?
Yeah, I actually used it in my practice.
That's
and I
excellent.
would give change in the practice, but you do the silver drop.
Another thing here is anytime you go to a place and they want a license for something, it's been made illegal first, and the state the government will only issue a license for something that has been made illegal first.
Right. I mean, basically, that's what a license is. The government takes away your right and then sells it back to you.
John, thanks for your call, man. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So silver. What I used to do with the Liberty Dollar is I'd do a similar thing where I'd actually leave a cash tip if I was at a restaurant or something like that. I'd leave a cash tip, standard tip, whatever the server deserved, 15, 20% or whatever. And then I'd leave a $1 warehouse note for the Liberty Dollar with the cash tip. And so for listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, the Liberty Dollar had two forms of currency that they offered. They had the silver Liberty, which was an actual ounce of silver. Very, very pretty, beautiful, polished silver, awesome looking piece. And then there was these warehouse notes that they had that essentially gave you a share of silver sitting in a vault somewhere. So the warehouse note would, say 1/20th of an ounce of silver, or 1/10 or something like that, depending on the denomination or whatever. And so I'd leave them 1/20th of an ounce of silver in paper form, along with the U.S. dollars. And the idea there was that this would, if you're tipping them decently, then that would make them maybe curious enough to actually go and see, what is this thing? They got this piece of paper or this warehouse receipt. What the heck is this? Oh, the guy tipped all right. Maybe this is worth looking at. You think that would have worked, Tarrin?
I never used the receipts, but I would have taken it just because,
As a
why
server,
not?
though, if somebody left you that,
sure.
Would you go and look at it?
I would have definitely with the coin.
Yeah.
I mean, the silver got my attention right away.
The silver's so
it was really pretty.
Yeah, that's something that you can't do with Bitcoin. You can't just drop a Bitcoin in someone's hand and impress them with a shiny thing.
I think I bought it at $7. So I got a big stack of them, and I used to hand them out as tips all the time, even if it was, if it was close, a $5 tip, sure, just give them a coin. And it was a good starter talk. I was really into pushing silver at the time and precious metals, trying to educate. So I thought it was worth it just for the education.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Mike in Tennessee. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Mike.
Hey, good evening. A couple of things, guys. First, I just want to mention there are some jobs where people work for free, and they go out of their way to get these jobs. For 4 years, I flew airplanes for free to build the hours so that I could have enough hours to get a real job as a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's stepping stones that sometimes you have to take, and the market drives that. I know that some of these guys get their commercial license, and then they try to find jobs, and they might make a little bit of money, but ultimately it's all about getting the hours up so you can get the real job. Now, you mentioned that do you guys actually get paid to do radio, or do y'all pay for your airtime?
Well, that's an interesting question.
We get paid for ads.
Yeah, stand by, Mike. We can continue the discussion here. Our toll-free number if you want to join us. Tell us your best tipper story.
We do this for a living, I suppose is the way to say that.
I don't get hourly pay or anything like that. If people don't contribute to the show via buying ads or some other method like our Bitcoin tip jar or buying things through Amazon, we're coming up. Free Talk Live.
For P150, P150GA, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-809-5580. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-809-5580. That's 1-800-809-5580. 1-800-809-5580.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at PatriotNecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
PatriotNecklace.com?
PatriotNecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from PatriotNecklace.com.
So I say to Mark at lunch, look, I keep hearing from the government that, they're worried someday ISIS may get here. And I go, duh, Garland, Texas, Muhammad cartoon shooting. ISIS is already here. I'm not waiting for these people to defend me. If they don't know ISIS is here already, they got no clue. I'm taking care of myself. Guns80.com, AR-15 kits, 30-shot magazines, great prices. They've even got the Hillary special. Guns80.com. That's 844-2-GUNS80, Guns80.com.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Mike Stenerson from Midas Resources. At no time in history have precious metals been more important, certainly not in my 22 years in the industry. The dollar has lost over 90% of its value in the last 60 years. No fiat currency has ever survived the government printing presses. Ours is not immune. The time is now to be proactive. 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Anything tied to the dollar is at risk. CDs, annuities, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, you name it, so decide. Do you want to leave a legacy of wealth or debt for your family? The choice is yours. Call me at 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Be proactive, not reactive. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 116.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian,
Tarrin P. Lupo,
and Mark.
Don't forget to check out Tarrin's website. It's TarrinLupo.com.
Thank you for that.
And what will people find there, Tarrin?
I have an article coming out tomorrow. Actually, it's about it's a long story, but it's how to make your own mead, which is honey wine.
Ooh. Oh, I think people will like that, yeah.
And that comes out tomorrow, and it is only going to be on TarrinLupo.com, which...
so not your YouTube channel.
This one will be unlisted on YouTube.
Got it. So you have to go through your website.
Correct.
That's a smart thing to do.
Well, I only have a few stories like that, and this is a big one people have been waiting on. It took me a long time to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it took stages of weeks of going back and forth and doing these... But it came out really good. I think it's a very cool story.
And it's coming out tomorrow, you said?
Yep. They'll be out tomorrow.
TarrinLupo.com and only at TarrinLupo.com.
That's it.
All right, cool. We'll continue with your calls here. We still have Mike on the line in Tennessee, who I think was building to some sort of point, or where were we, Mike? Do we have Mike in Tennessee?
He was talking about how they were getting airline. I guess it's so expensive to take the airline classes that you fly for free to avoid having to pay those fees.
I felt like he was going somewhere. I'm not sure where with that. Go ahead, Mike.
No, what I was saying, like in radio, I've had friends that pay for their airtime, and they make a lot of money with commercial ads, but the airtime is sold to them, and then they have free run of the air. And the other people actually get paid a salary, and they have no control over the commercials. They just basically read a script. So
yeah, that's pretty much how a lot of radio works, wherein you can pay for airtime, kind of own that time, or the station pays you, and then they own the airtime, and they sell the airtime. That's generally how it goes in the business.
Right, and so that's kind of the trade-off on many jobs, and you have to. It's a means to an end. But the information I wanted to give you, and I wish I had an email I could send you. I've got a video of a slow motion of the Virginia shooter, and you can see there's not a single casing coming out of his gun.
You do understand that those casings fly out pretty fast, and the frame rate on that video may not have been particularly good, right?
It's 8 times slow motion, and you can see.
You can slow down. You can slow down a video that only has 15 frames a second, but that's not going to give you more frames.
Right, I believe he's in 32 full frames per second, which is full motion video. So there's no glitchiness right off the bat. So
here's what you can do. You don't generally send stuff directly to the Free Talk Live hosts. You go to freetalklive.com. And then we have a Reddit-based system there that you can submit whatever you want. So whatever conspiracy video or whatever it is you want our listeners to see, you can submit it right there through our Reddit-based system.
We'll see it too.
Right? So whatever goes up through that system, we'll see it. Thank you for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. Dude's obsessed with that Virginia shooting.
Well, he just,
is he talking about
interesting to him?
Virginia Tech? Or
No. He's talking about the one that just happened like a week ago, where the reporter and the cameraman were shot to death.
in Roanoke. Yeah. Right.
He's
my old stomping ground.
He does not believe that was as it seemed to be. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Let's continue. We've got, I believe, Greg listening in Brooklyn. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Greg.
Hey, guys. Just really quickly first about a tip story.
Sure.
I ran across a few weeks ago. I was listening to Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, and he was telling a story of how he used to tip everybody with $2 bills.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And everybody was shocked how come he had so many $2 bills. Turns out that you can actually buy these, I think from the U.S. Mint or resellers.
You can just go to your bank. You can just go down to, if you have a bank account, go to your bank and ask them for $2 bills, and they will either give you what they have in stock at the moment, which probably isn't too many, or you can custom order as many as you want. They'll probably have a minimum that you have to order, so you might have to order like $1,000 worth of twos or something like that. But yeah, you absolutely can still get plenty of twos, as many twos as you want. I do this actually. I carry $2 bills around with me, and I stamp them with things, and I stamp all the money that I have. With Free Talk Live URL or Bitcoin.com.
Yeah, that's smart because everybody keeps the $2.
They certainly notice it. The $2 bill will.
Yeah, they still think they're valuable. So
they'll attract attention.
Yeah, they're special.
That's
a good
smart
one, Greg.
to stamp something on.
So what else did you want to share tonight? Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I'm calling in to talk about, I guess, the effect of capitalism on the environment and like the planet that we live on. I'll be the first to say I don't think government is the answer. I don't think government is able to do things any better than the institution of capitalism. But when capitalism, every actor in a capitalistic society wants to increase the money coming in, and then they spend that money. So in a way, it increases money velocity. And if there's no inflation, what happens is more resources get converted from basically the environment to garbage. And you've got the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, you've got overfishing, you've got ecosystems that we don't know what will happen once they get polluted enough. And of course, we've got the greenhouse gases. So my point is that I'm kind of worried about the human population. If it continues to increase and consume. One more thing I just want to say, that I think the factory farm phenomenon is a great example of how, you had more animals than you wanted to save more money, so you crammed them into worse conditions, and now they have to live their whole lives in terrible conditions. So I see this as a problem of capitalism, negative externalities.
Now,
And
can
I'm
you
not sure
define
how,
capitalism? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here.
Sure. It's just basically a system in which people can own unlimited, private entities or organizations can own unlimited amounts of capital and put it to use. I feel like in this system, because everything is so unlimited, you can prioritize the making of money over everything else. It's not sustainable.
Well, you can only make money if you satisfy your customers, right? So if you're not satisfying your customers, you're not going to make any money. So it's not like there's no check and balance on these companies. And there's a huge movement of people who are very concerned about the factory farming. And there are a lot of companies who are out there, certifying that they treat animals fairly.
Right. I sell pork and I sell pigs. And I can tell you that, the rate at which people will buy the pork that I have sold them is significantly higher than what they would pay per pound in the store. And it's because they know that I'm going to treat the animal well and that its conditions are going to be much more natural than they would be otherwise.
Yeah, I watched some videos about a slaughterhouse, and now I'm vegetarian.
Yeah, it's.
Honestly, if you've ever been to or the factory, it's appalling.
Yeah, it's appalling, but it's one of the reasons it's appalling is because of your expectations and the things you're expecting to see. So if an animal who is going to live, say, 8 months for a pig. A pig's going to live 8 months, and cows generally live on ranches and stuff, or at least for a little while, for most of their lives. Pigs are born and die in the same place. If a human being who was young was born and died, say, in an orphanage, they wouldn't know that they were in bad conditions because they had never known anything else. So I'm not justifying factory farming. I'm simply saying that I don't think that what we're doing is anthropomorphizing animals, and that I don't know exactly what it's like for them. Having raised my own animals.
I know if things don't want to die, they go kicking and screaming and fight.
Yes.
All you have to do is, again, if you really have the guts to go and watch a factory farm video.
Oh, I've watched them.
Well, look, you've got money.
It'll change.
You've got money. Those are your votes, okay? So you decide with your dollars, your choices, where you send your resources. And if people feel like good conditions on a farm is important, they're going to send their resources there, and they're going to put those other companies out of business. And wouldn't you say that's the best way to handle that situation, Greg?
Well, first of all, I think I applaud, that there are some mechanisms by which people can choose, and certainly we need certifications of humanely raised animals, stuff like that. But, when in capitalism, when you say that I don't make money unless somebody pays me and I have a satisfied customer, but these two parties are not, me and the customer, are not the only parties involved. And I can satisfy the customer at the expense of the planet, at the expense of an animal's welfare, at the expense of a lot of things that just come for free. And as long as they're free and not costing me that as much as it is to produce, I can simply try to get as much of it as I can. So cutting off the beaks of birds so they don't peck each other when, for example, in factory farm example, you're cutting off the beaks of birds. You are putting sows in a place where they can't even move.
But you didn't really answer my question, and if you want to hang on, we can continue the discussion here in a moment, because I know there are a lot of people who are concerned with this kind of thing. That's why you see the market responding in that way. But is Greg saying that violence is necessary? That we need to use the guns of the state to threaten people to do things the way Greg wants them to be done? It's Free Talk Live.
Geico applauds your inner happy camper.
A merit badge of awesomeness goes out to the part of you that wants to put the recreation in recreational vehicle. The part of you that packs up everything and everybody in the RV and says, let's get this show on the road. Because Geico has specialized agents who help save money on more than just car insurance. Geico will insure that entire RV, so you can get the s'more making, poison ivy dodging, same song singing, ghost storytelling, campfire building, best time you ever had with your family show on the road.
Geico for your RV. See how much you could save.
Before girls' night out, my eczema flared up. Ugh, I felt like canceling. But then I tried Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. It's specially formulated for eczema and has 1% hydrocortisone, the strongest non-prescription itch medicine for fast, lasting itch relief. It quickly stopped the itch and soothed my red, dry, flaky skin. With Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief, I was ready for girls' night out, and it was the best one ever.
Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. Feel the heal. Use as directed.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Get life advice from Dr. Joy Brown. Only here. GCN.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. The White House welcomes Senate support of the Iran nuclear deal.
Spokesman Josh Earnest says the White House is encouraged now that more than a third of the Senate is supporting the nuclear agreement. He says it's validation of the Obama administration's outreach campaign to ensure that senators understand what's in the deal. Earnest says every vote is important because the stakes are so high.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Not everyone agrees with that assessment, however. Republican Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska says the Iran nuclear agreement is a bad deal and the U.S. Senate should not support it.
I mean, it'd be laughable if it wasn't so horrific about the fact that we're lighting a fuse for a nuclear arms race in the Middle East, and we're going to regret it.
Schools in northern Illinois remain closed one day after the murder of a police lieutenant, Charles Glinowitz. Sergeant Christopher Cavelli with the Lake County Sheriff's Office says with the suspects still at large, officials decided to have students stay home.
The schools in the area did decide to close today, and that was for a couple reasons. Obviously, primarily to keep the children safe.
Officials still have only sketchy information about the two white men and one black man wanted in the attack. Vitaly Churkin, Russian ambassador to the United Nations and current Security Council president, says members are discussing a draft resolution to address Europe's burgeoning migrant crisis and may well adopt it this month.
We are now in the process of a discussion of a draft resolution of the Security Council to deal with one aspect of this problem. So it may well be that we will have this resolution adopted in the course of September.
The measure will likely authorize the inspection of suspected migrant ships. That's dialed back from a resolution earlier this year that would have authorized a European Union mission to inspect and seize suspected migrant smuggling ships in Libya and its territorial waters. On Wall Street, that up by 293 points on townhall.com.
For many people, noise is just a part of life. But there is one noise you shouldn't have to live with. It's the ringing in your ears associated with tinnitus, and sometimes it doesn't stop. Luckily, there is a new homeopathic medicine that can reduce the noises associated with tinnitus. It's called Quiet Assure, and it's guaranteed to help reduce the ringing, the buzzing, and the noises. Finally, there is Quiet Assure. Call right away for a risk-free trial of Quiet Assure. 1 in 5 people are suffering from tinnitus. Don't be one of them. Call now. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765. Quiet Assure is an all-natural homeopathic medicine. Get your risk-free trial. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765.
A member of the House Armed Services Committee has expressed grave concern over plans by Pentagon officials to visit sites in the United States that could house some Gitmo detainees.
All part of a White House goal of closing the facility at Guantanamo. Dozens of detainees would have to be transferred to facilities in the U.S. to accomplish that goal. Indiana Republican Jackie Walorski promising a big fight in the House. Pentagon officials have already checked out potential sites in Kansas, and this week are visiting a Navy brig in Charleston, South Carolina, as part of a draft plan on closing the facility at Guantanamo.
Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. Actor Dean Jones has died of Parkinson's disease at the age of 84. Jones was known primarily for his roles in Walt Disney films such as That Darn Cat and The Love Bug. He was also an open evangelical Christian. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A new report says foodborne illnesses make 48 million people sick and account for 3,000 deaths annually. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has the story.
The report cites what it calls factory farms and their intensive use of pharmaceuticals in livestock, which is associated with the rise of antibiotic-resistant superbugs. It also cites vast amounts of waste that contaminates groundwater and nearby crops. The report recommends Congress pass legislation to create a single food safety agency instead of the fragmented system that currently exists.
When it comes to dollars and cents, the report says foodborne illnesses cost the nation $77 billion a year. A judge in Baltimore refused to throw out charges against 6 police officers in connection with the death of Freddie Gray from injuries he suffered while in custody. A defense request to remove District Attorney Marilyn Mosby was also rejected. The officers face charges ranging from assault to murder. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
My name is Dell, and I live in El Cajon, California. I was concerned about my cholesterol readings because I knew that high cholesterol is related to clogging of the arteries and increases the risk for heart attack and stroke. One day, I heard an ad for Heart and Body Extract, and I was skeptical, but I decided to give it a try. Man, the numbers don't lie.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here on the radio waves. You can bring up whatever's on your mind, and we still have more tipping-related stories to get to here. Tarrin has his best tipper, the best tip experience he had while working in the service business, and strangest customer. We still have to get to those stories.
Yeah.
I won't forget. But we're also discussing the idea of factory farming with Greg in New York. And, you know, he's brought up a lot of concerns. And, Mark, you are a farmer, and you are somebody who raises pigs. You've had, what, 40 pigs this year or something at one point?
We had as many as 50 on the farm at one point, but most of them were babies.
And so, you know, you've got your hands full with that. And something you're concerned with is, as many people are, the way animals are treated in these farming operations. Now, Greg, you were sort of rattling off some of the awful things that have been done. Tarrin, you've seen some videos. It's made you quit eating meat.
Yep.
And so clearly there's, you know, in the marketplace out there, there's a high demand for these farms that have the open range for the chickens, and, you know, they're not caging the animals, and where they can't even turn around in the cages. There's a fairly high demand for this. But, Greg, you're still, obviously, you know, it's true that some people don't care. Like you do, and so the factory farms are, you know, many of them are still in business, and they're just cranking out the eggs and the meat and whatever.
Well, the factory farms have far more money than the average individual does to be able to lobby the government to get the regulations that they want that are beneficial to them. And this is one of the reasons that I advocate against Greg's philosophy, which is that it tends to be very government-centric, because the government is always going to be used by the people who have the most money to throw around.
Mark, you're jumping to a conclusion here, I asked Greg before we went away to the news there for a moment. I did ask him about what he wants basically to happen here. He hasn't really said exactly what his solution is yet, so don't jump to a conclusion. I know we've talked to Greg before, so it's easy to presume you know what he's going to say. Greg, so you've identified a lot of problems with these factory farms. What do you see as the solution?
Right. So, by the way, it's funny, during the break, I don't know if everybody hears the same thing, but
You're kind of fading out a little bit. I don't know if it's your phone or what it is. Can you come back on that?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's
much better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was saying it's funny. I don't know if everybody hears the same thing during the break, but as part of the news, they brought up factory farming, actually, and they brought up yet another thing, which I forgot to mention, which is antibiotic resistance. So a lot of people, not just animals, are being harmed by so many animals being raised, fed with antibiotics, because now, there's super bacteria because of this, and we're all going to have to pay the price if our antibiotics stop working. So I guess your question was, would I support using guns, as you say? And, for this particular topic, I'm actually not opposed to even going all the way and characterizing this as violence and guns, using the government as violence and guns. Because I think even the most principled deontological libertarian in this case could support the argument that, if we're messing up the planet for our children, for example, they are a third party that's being harmed by our quote-unquote voluntary agreement with each other. If we are exploiting animals, then they're a third party. And the people that will have the super bacteria that they will have to die from a very preventable disease are a third party. And I think to protect a third party, violence is a legitimate way to defend their interests.
I agree completely. And I'm of the opinion, well, yes, I do believe that, so for instance, GMO foods and the practice of using fertilizers the way they do. So what you'll find is farmers they get these GMO foods that are pesticide resistant or herbicide resistant, and they'll spray herbicide all over the place. And also their use of fertilizers on the land. This stuff washes down into rivers and streams. Many of the rivers and streams lead out to the Mississippi River, and then the Mississippi River leads out to the Gulf of Mexico. There's this giant area they call the dead zone. It's a pleasant name, where basically all life has been destroyed because of just over algae blooms going over and over again. Nothing can live there. So that is aggression. You would agree, Ian, if I lived uphill from you and I poured motor oil in my creek and it went down to your hill, that would be aggression, right?
Sure. I mean, if you've got proof that somebody's poisoning another person or destroying their land,
this
then
is
you've
a
got
practice.
You've
but
got
it's a practice
there.
that's put in place by factory farms that own the lobbyists that own the politicians, and the politicians who claim to own you, Greg.
But would you say you could use self-defense against that? I mean,
I don't know how you would.
Yeah, I mean, how do you stop your neighbor from poisoning you?
Right, and especially when you're talking about it's a small amount of each person's doing a small amount. So these are real issues that at this point neither the state nor anyone else has a good solution to. Now, Greg's simply saying we'll turn the reins over to this all-powerful organization, the state, and at some point they'll come up with a solution. But
no. In this case, this particular issue, I'm not saying that. I don't think that the state as an institution has been any more effective at curbing pollution than the private market. I may be wrong about that. I haven't seen the data. But it just seems to me that you're right. In this case, the lobbyist with the most money would still lobby government. Having said that, the EPA right now is coming out with stronger rules. And again, I mean, shouldn't we care about our children, the world they inherit, and aren't their rights supposed to be represented in some fashion, even in an anarcho-capitalist society?
Sure. Do you think that the EPA represented your children's rights well when they dumped a whole bunch of poison into which river was it that connected to the Colorado there?
I have no idea.
I can't remember the name of the river.
The accident, the yellow river. I mean, listen, Solyndra failed too.
The accident that the mine owner warned them about and said, I don't want to turn over my mine to you because you're going to do this. And they did.
Well, I mean, there was a river that was lit on fire because it was so polluted, and the EPA cleaned that up. I don't know on that if there's
that was the Cuyahoga in Cleveland, and it was lit on fire by large companies that polluted, that were following the laws as they could at the time. And this is the difficulty, right? Like Anwar, the Alaskan National Wildlife Refuge, was supposed to be this wildlife refuge, and then the government decides, oh, there's oil up there, let's run a big pipeline through it. And this upsets all the environmentalists, because when you turn over environmental protection to the government, you should, like, at this point, we know what's going to happen.
Greg, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Thanks for the discussion. Temper is on the line. By the way, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Temper in Legal Land. You're on Free Talk Live.
Speaking of regulations that don't work, I'm calling in specifically about that new law that was supposed to allow you to unlock your cell phones.
A new law that will allow you to unlock your cell phones. Didn't we have people calling over the last few days concerned that the FCC would make it illegal to unlock your cell phone? Now there's a law that allows you to do it?
Yeah, it's called CTIA. I don't remember what the acronym means, but it's like consumer something or other. And it was basically signed by Obama. They stalled for as long as they could. And they were supposed to implement it, I believe, in March of this year. And, I've bought 2 phones now with AT&T branding. And every single time I've tried to unlock the phone, they make it the biggest hassle to unlock your phone.
And by unlock,
iPhone,
you mean make it so an AT&T phone could work on another network?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Okay. And now
So
there's some law that requires phone manufacturers to actually include an option that allows this in the phone, but you're saying it's difficult?
No, the law is directed towards the carrier. The manufacturers never wanted to do any of this. This is all the carriers, baby. They want to lock your phone to their network, then you can't.
So you can't take it somewhere else.
Easily.
Yeah, and it must be some politician somewhere bought a phone off of eBay that it was locked up, and they got all frustrated. So they're like, we need a law.
Yeah, this sounds like a decent one. I mean, sometimes
they probably had a
right.
little too much red wine, and they decided, let's fix this.
So Temper.
Well, they don't comply. I mean, they pretend they do, but I mean, I just bought a phone. It's a brand new phone. I'm trying to activate it on a Ting, which is a pretty cool carrier, and they support basically AT&T's network or Sprint's network. They call it GSM and CDMA.
Well, I know there are carriers like, or there are companies like Straight Talk that will allow you to import phones from other places, and they've been doing that for a couple years. So I don't know how new this is. But Temper, thanks for the call. There's more coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's Update to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free tactical scarf for a limited time with any body armor package. That's CATIarmor.com. Come and take it.
That's disgusting. What's that smell? Roll down your window before I pass out.
It's those nasty fish oil pills I've been taking.
Why won't you just switch to Nutrigold fish oil like I did?
It's fish oil. What's the difference?
Well, my Nutrigold fish oil is sourced and manufactured right here in the USA.
What's so special about that? Aren't they all?
Are you kidding? Of course not. Only Nutrigold fish oil is 100% USA made, which is why it's so fresh.
100% product of USA and fresh? I like the sound of that. So no more fish burps?
No more fish burps. And that's not all. If you go to www.fishoil.best and enter my fish oil, you can save $5 like I did.
That won't be necessary. We can just share your bottle.
Nice try. Get your own at www.fishoil.best.
Sorry. Get rid of those fish burps for good. Go to Nutrigold's U.S.-made fish oil products by going to www.fishoil.best and get $5 off by entering My Fish Oil at checkout.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We've also got Skype. You can Skype into the show at username LRN.FM. With you in the studio, you've got Ian.
Tarrin P. Lupo.
And Mark.
If you care about privacy while you're online, you need ProXPN. It's a virtual private network, and they encrypt your online data before it reaches your internet service provider. ProXPN does it right. They offer OpenVPN, the gold standard of network encryption. They have apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Linux support as well. Plus, unlike those other guys, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. Now, ProXPN has more servers than ever before, which means greater speed and security for you. They accept credit card and even Bitcoin. You can save 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of your account when you buy an annual account with our code, which is FTL50, FTL like Free Talk Live, 50 as in 50% off, which means it could be cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. So go to proxpn.com right now, use code FTL50, and take back the privacy that is your right. It's proxpn.com, code FTL50. To the phones, to the fun, more tipping stories coming up here in a little bit. We got Matt first, though, listening in Minnesota via TuneIn. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the air.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to comment earlier in this, one of the earlier callers here talking about capitalism and then conflating big corporations colluding with the government and equating that with capitalism. And
it's pretty common for people to do that.
Yeah, nobody has critical thinking skills anymore. When you have a government that intervenes in the market, you don't have capitalism. Because just as Martin was saying, when the corporations have more money than everybody else, they're going to pay for lobbyists. Lobbyists pay the politicians. And I'm not giving a politician a vacation in the Bahamas, so he's not going to listen to me.
Well, I mean, to give Greg a little bit of credit, I mean, certainly disagree with his perspective on things of using violence to get his way.
Well, in this case, he was saying that he didn't think the government had the solution.
Yeah, that is true.
And
that's true on this time.
But when I asked him to define capitalism, he did say that people just having capital and not having limits on it. He didn't say anything about corporations in his definition of capitalism.
And I think this is one of the reasons why one needs to be we can spend our time trying to convince people to save the word capitalism. But I would remind you that capitalism was created
by Karl Marx.
The term capitalism was created by its detractors. So I think that it is fair to use it as a pejorative. I mean, that's what it was created as. It was created as a pejorative. And many people really love this term capitalist, especially people who call themselves anarcho-capitalists. They really want to claim this term for themselves. And, the term is largely used in the negative. And I don't see any reason to particularly salvage it. I like the term the free market better than I like the term capitalism.
Yeah, me too.
But, if somebody – I generally ask people to define their terms. I will work with people on their terms as long as we can use the same ones to have a discussion. And Greg, I think, correctly realized that in the case of the environment that this, the government doesn't have any solutions. And – therefore, what we really need, the answer to this is what we really need is we need a better dispute resolution or system or organization that we currently have with the judicial system. The judicial system is only going to work with the laws it has. The laws are going to be written by the lobbyists through the politicians that they pay off, and that's where this whole thing comes apart. So if there's actual organizations that settle disputes between an injured party and a party that caused them injury, then you will have a real tort, and then how that's enforced it'd be very interesting to see. But so far, having these this checks and balances thing, it ain't working.
Not working at all. No. Yeah, I agree with you completely there, Mark. And I like to say that I'm an abolitionist rather than use anarcho-capitalism, because instantly they think of, bomb throwers and monopoly guys with bags of money. And to some extent, that's what has been portrayed, throughout the media and throughout the years. But when talking with friends that try to expound on socialism, but then they run a martial arts school, I'm like, you're taking the capital of knowledge that you have earned and you are trading that for money.
Yeah, I got to say that I find it fascinating, the whole idea of small business people, and I believe Greg is one too, small business people that, that are essentially big government socialists. It seems so odd to me that somebody would have the experience of working with the federal government, working with the state governments, working with the local mob, all these organizations, and they function very similarly to mafias, and then being like, these people can solve some problems.
Matt, was that where you were going with that? I feel like Mark jumped to a conclusion there about the
No, I think Mark hit it right on.
Okay.
I mean, exactly, because look at how is Bernie Sanders drawing these crowds? Especially
he's genuine. Bernie Sanders is the reason he's drawing crowds, and the reason he should be drawing crowds is because he's consistent. He's a man of integrity and principle. His principles do not agree with ours. However,
but nobody's looking into what he's actually saying. I mean,
I get it. I hear what you're saying, but I'm giving you the answer to your question. The answer to your question is that people appreciate integrity, they appreciate principle, and it's the reason that Ron Paul could draw people. It's the reason that Bernie Sanders could draw people. It's the reason that Ron Paul made his money by donations of $10, $20, $50, and Bernie Sanders is doing the same thing.
I mean, your average voter probably isn't really looking too deeply into these issues, right? They're listening to the promises. And, of course, they should know better. They should know that politicians don't follow through on their promises. But that's what gets people all riled up. Ron Paul, if he could have had his way, would like to promise people freedom, right? Hey, you'll be free to do with what you want with your own body. Well, of course, young people like that, right? Well, I can get some alcohol or cigarettes or drugs or whatever. You can do what you want with your own money. Well, business owners like that. I mean, people who doesn't want to do what they want with their own money. And now Bernie is saying, hey, I'll give you free education. I'll give you free health care. Who doesn't want free stuff? I mean, who doesn't want that, right? So, if you just take the surface level promise and that's all that people hear, hey, they see somebody with a Bernie Sanders bumper sticker. Hey, what's that Bernie Sanders all about? Oh, well, he's going to give me free health care and free college. Well, hell yeah. Where do I sign up? Get me a sign for my front yard.
This is the reason that people should vote for me. I'm running as a write-in in all 50 states, and I promise you double what Bernie Sanders is promising you.
Yeah, but you're not going to get it right.
Bernie Sanders promises you a free college education. I promise you a free doctorate.
Go ahead, Matt.
My principles forbid me from voting, period. So I can't do that, Mark. Sorry.
Well, I got to say that I have yet to hear the principled argument for not voting.
The principled argument for not voting?
Yes, I don't think one exists.
I do not wish to cause violence to my neighbor.
Do you mean your neighbor who's trying to enact violence against me?
That doesn't matter. I'm not
yeah? Do you not going to protect your house if a burglar comes in?
I will protect my house.
So you could vote in self-defense.
Let's talk about it if you want to stick with us, Matt. Well, let's see if Matt can defend not voting as some sort of principled concept. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
So I say to Mark at lunch, look, I keep hearing from the government that, they're worried someday ISIS may get here. And I go, duh, Garland, Texas, Muhammad cartoon shooting. ISIS is already here. I'm not waiting for these people to defend me. If they don't know ISIS is here already, they got no clue. I'm taking care of myself. Guns80.com, AR-15 kits, 30-shot magazines, great prices. They've even got the Hillary special. Guns80.com. That's 844-2-GUNS80, Guns80.com.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at PatriotNecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
PatriotNecklace.com?
PatriotNecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from PatriotNecklace.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge, host of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the very economic engine that powers this country. With a printing press tethered to Washington politicians, bureaucrats, and central bankers, how can we put our trust in paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Come see gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold. With Washington, D.C. delivering more debt and printed promises, common sense tells us the future of the trend is obvious. Everyone listening should visit gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938. I trust Midas Resources for my gold, silver, platinum, and you can too. Again, I want you to have this book, and it's free. It's gold.freetalklive.com or 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Do you owe the IRS money? Has the IRS garnished your wages or put a lien against your house? The IRS has the power to make you pay back what they claim you owe and will stop at nothing to collect. There is a solution. Call Signature Tax now. Speak with our professionals and feel the weight of your tax burden lifted from your shoulders. Call now for your free and confidential analysis. 800-481-3147. Again, that's 800-481-3147. 800-481-3147.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. Of course, you can join us here on the radio waves. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Can it be a principled act to not vote? That is my understanding of what our caller, Matt, suggested, and he did do us the favor of hanging on, so we'll bring him back on here in a moment. But I also want to let you know about Bitcoinist.net. It's the prime online destination for information about the Bitcoin and digital currency industry. Over at Bitcoinist.net, you'll find a community forum, breaking Bitcoin and digital currency news, also fintech and blockchain tech news. Plus, Bitcoinist has a sophisticated amount of Bitcoin network statistics, a solid beginner's guide to Bitcoin, and more. Go to Bitcoinist.net. It's Bitcoinist, Bitcoinist.net. And their platform serves the needs of everyone looking to keep up with Bitcoin and digital currencies, from beginners to experts. It's Bitcoinist.net. As we go back to Matt in Brainerd, Minnesota. Matt, you said that your principles prevent you from voting. And then when Mark pressed you a little bit, you said that you felt like voting, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you felt that voting was like, using violence against your neighbors.
Correct.
So my question would be then, and I sort of asked this previously, is if you'll use violence to protect your home, and you said you would, why wouldn't you use, if you're claiming that voting's violence, and I will agree with you that the state is a organization of violence. However, I would say that their suggestion box isn't necessarily. So if you would use violence to protect your house, how come you won't use violence to protect your neighbors by voting?
Okay. To clarify here, and I've heard, I really admire what the Free State Project is doing, and I totally applaud you guys. And the issue of the president, since we don't actually vote specifically for the president, we vote for the Electoral College to make their choice. I don't see how that can be in self-defense.
Okay.
On the issue of a local issue with a bond or a school property tax raise, I can see the argument there.
Okay,
yes.
So yes, I think that's usually where I run to. It's my safety zone. Was when I say that you're talking about voting in a referendum against increased government, and that's where I tend to go. So excellent, you have done the very best you could possibly do in this debate. Now let's get a little further. In the case of, say, a state rep here in New Hampshire. Oftentimes I'm voting between the lesser of two evils. And frankly, it really is the lesser of two evils. I'm in a district where the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance rates reps as constitutional threats. All four of them in my district.
Really?
Constitutional threats. So, and that's the lowest rating they can possibly get.
Even Keene's not that bad.
It's miserable.
Basically means it's communist in disguise.
Yeah, they threw my district away. The Republicans threw my district away in redistricting a couple of years ago. Nonetheless, so now there are races here in New Hampshire where reps win every single year. There's a race where a rep wins. This might be a bit of an exaggeration, but not much of one, by one vote. So it is worth going to the polls and voting in these, because you could win the lottery. It's better than winning the lottery. It's more likely than winning the lottery. So at that case, if I'm voting with the lesser of two evils, say there's a principled candidate. Say Ian is running, who Ian might even refuse to serve. So
I don't think I could swear the oath.
Right. So let me ask you that. Can you not vote for Ian when Ian says he can't take the oath and will not sit in the office? Mr. Principles?
On that one, I would have to say no. I wouldn't. I'd have better things to do with my time.
Okay, that's not principle, though,
That's not a principle. That is a mathematic.
That's a preference.
That's a mathematic preference, and absolutely, you would be better off sitting down and playing video games all day in your underwear and drinking tequila out of the bottle than going and voting. I will concur with you that if that's what your version of a good time, then that's what you should do. But because it's unlikely you will be that one deciding vote. But that's not a principled answer.
All right, there you go, Matt.
right,
Thanks for the call, man. I think you broke him down pretty good there, Mark.
I think
gently. You did it gently.
I think he had the sort of the best position one can have. One can say, well, politicians, they don't do what they say. Nobody can do that position right. And I think that's true. Politics really stinks. But it doesn't change the fact that you will be ruled by politicians in the next term.
Whether you vote or not.
Whether you choose to vote or not.
And not only that, but whether anyone votes or not. There have been votes where 0% have turned out. And
the person running didn't vote for themselves.
What do you know? The government doesn't just close up shop and say, well, guys, we'll call it a day here at 5 o'clock. Nobody showed up. I guess that's it. They don't need us anymore.
No, they don't do that.
They just keep on sending out the tax bills.
The school board is going to be populated by the busybody parents and the teachers and these sorts of people. And when they go, they're going to vote for their increase in the gymnasium or their new pool or whatever it is that they're getting there.
Yeah, you can count on them to show up.
If
usually.
you don't go and vote, expect to be ruled by your inferiors.
All right, let's go and talk to Aaron. He is on the line via Skype. Hello, Aaron. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Tarrin, and Mark.
Hi, nice to hear from you guys. I was listening the other night after I called in, Conan talking about conspiracy theories, and Mark mentioned that there's been a conspiracy surrounding every murder in the last year.
Well, I would say
certainly the shootings, the public shootings.
When you say when big news stories, any big news stories has basically got a conspiracy theory that surrounds it.
But it seemed to be all or the other. And I think that probably what's going on more often than not is that the major news outlets are embellishing. They didn't release the entire guy's manifesto. They have the whole thing. They cherry-picked the parts they wanted. They gave you a narrative that maybe doesn't make complete sense because they try and link things together to make it look a certain way. And some people can see that they're not being honest, and then they try and fit the pieces together in the best way they can, and then they just assume that the whole thing is dishonest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, people tend not to have very much trust in the mainstream media, and I understand why they don't have trust in the mainstream media, but I think that,
I don't need to trust the mainstream media. I can watch the guy shooting at people on a video.
I understand that. But I've known enough reporters and I've known enough people that you have to have a very deep and thorough distrust of the mainstream media to be like, not one reporter will report on this sort of thing. At some point or another, somebody breaks the line and breaks the story. There is an incentive in journalism to get the story.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Ian also said something about the FCC not going after pirate radio stations.
No, that's not exactly what I was saying.
Well,
the news story that I was reporting is the FCC's chairman, the head of the FCC, has come out with statements that make it sound like pirate radio enforcement is not at the top of the list. He made it sound like there are all these other things that are more important, and sort of had this kind of defeatist sounding statement about how enforcement alone won't be enough to stop pirate radio.
Do you think pirate radio's growing? I mean, is it since you've been in here? I mean, I don't even know of a pirate station right now.
I don't think pirate radio is growing in the way that you're accustomed to thinking of it, but rather in like dark mesh networks where people are using these radio broadcasts to communicate in kind of quasi-internet situations. And I think what the government is more interested in is being able to control and monitor any kind of mass dissemination of information. If you want to speak to the masses, you got to go through the gatekeepers.
Well, there's no doubt about that, but I mean, the statements this chairman was making made it sound like pirate radio was not at the forefront of the enforcement provisions. They've even shut down something like a dozen FCC field offices this year. They don't have that many of them left. I think there's only about 10 or something like that.
Did they lose funding or something, or did they just don't
care? Yeah, they must have, or they're shoveling the funding somewhere else. For whatever reason, they decided to close a bunch of their monitoring station, or not monitoring station, a bunch of their field offices. They don't even have monitoring
Sounds
stations
like an opportunity.
anymore. Yeah, well, pirate radio or community or free radio or whatever you want to call it has always been a relatively low-risk thing to do. By the way, I'm not including people in New York and Florida where you can actually get arrested for running a pirate radio station, but pretty much everywhere else is fairly low risk. So I think I linked to that on my show prep last night. If you want to check it out. But yeah, I would say take my word for it. It sounds like pirate radio enforcement is not at the top of the FCC's list at the moment. Thanks, Aaron, for your call tonight.
They're not protecting us.
No, I'm glad they're not doing it. We need more freedom to broadcast. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
You're old enough to tell that something is definitely wrong. You've been paying attention for years and you're ready. You're probably frustrated because your children don't listen to your words of warning. What will you do when your grandkids show up hungry at your door? Get more food storage from Ready Supply Foods. We sell 50% more food for your dollar and we can prove it. See the comparisons for yourself at ReadySupplyFoods.com. We're the new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here on the radio at 855 450 free. And we still have to get back to the tipping discussion that we started the show out with tonight. And when we get the chance, we'll do that. But of course, we'll take your calls about whatever happens to be on your mind at 855 450 free. And don't forget, we've also got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. Also on the way, if we get the chance, sex with robots. We can talk about that. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Libertarian Banker is on the line, calling from He Won't Say. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, just want to bring up something from a couple of days ago. There was a caller that called in and had asked the question, would it be possible for a good man to take control of the money supply and use it for good? And Mark hit the nail right on the head when he said that power attracts the corrupt, and it also corrupts the good. So the answer is no. You can't give the money supply to any one person. The money belongs to the people, and it's not even necessary, to be honest. If you have a finite currency, the value typically will increase, which, in my eyes, I don't see why that's a bad thing. The value of an asset has increased. Yeah, it might slow down the velocity of money changing hands, but the increase in value, I think, would more than outweigh that.
Yeah, the velocity of money is the argument against basically a value-backed currency, and that may very well be the case. I don't know the answer. But if you get the government out of currency, then there will probably be new innovations in currency coming on a relatively regular basis. Let's look at Bitcoin and then all its competitors. There must be hundreds of competitors to Bitcoin, these other cryptocurrencies out there. They're all vying for second place in the cryptocurrency sphere.
There are over 500 as of the last time I looked at coincap.io.
So,
and not to mention the power of the U.S. government comes from its dollar. And you can see that throughout history when the country has come on and off of the gold standard. And most of the time, it's for war. They want to finance wars, so they want to print money. How convenient is it to not have to mine gold to create value, but rather just click a button on a computer or fire up the printing press?
There's no doubt that the printing press grants the government a lot of power because they are the ones who control the money, and so therefore he who controls the money is fairly influential. But a lot of their power also comes from the fact that they're willing to wield guns at people and throw them in cages. That's an important factor too.
Exactly, and that's why competition for currency and bringing the money back to the people in the form of decentralized cryptocurrencies is the answer, in my opinion.
If you guys could make your own cryptocurrency, what would you make?
I am not interested in doing that.
You wouldn't do a fun one?
God, no, there's so many of them. What a waste of time.
It would have to have a silly name. It would have to have a silly name, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, you never know when you roll the dice and hit the one people. Who would have ever thought Dogecoin would do as well as it did? I mean,
somebody actually did make an FTL coin, and that existed for some period of time.
Oh. Whoopie-doo.
Didn't even know.
Hey, Libertarian Banker, thanks for calling. We appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to John calling from Maine. John, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Welcome.
I was calling about a show you did a few nights ago on the maniac that shot up the two reporters live on TV.
Yeah.
You had a few callers call in, pro-gun, pro-restriction. And I just wanted to let you know, we just had a shooting locally here in Maine where this drug user broke into this elderly man's house who was wheelchair-bound. He had purchased the firearm on a Monday. This guy came in, I believe it was Monday night or Tuesday night.
12 hours later.
12 hours later, and this is the fifth time he's been robbed.
Yep, he'd been robbed 4 times previously.
Home invasion style robbery? Like he's there every time he gets robbed?
The window.
Wow.
Came through the window while he was sleeping.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
And he had the gun, under his pillow or on his nightstand.
A 7mm Russian-made revolver. Never heard of such a thing.
I've never even heard of that.
No, me either.
What is that?
It was enough to get the robber in the shoulder, and the robber took off and got nabbed in the woods.
Oh, God, good. You know about it then.
Yeah, I've got it. The guy's name is Harvey Lembo.
But they took his gun from him, right?
Yeah. Now he's everybody in Rockland or Rockport or whatever it is, Rockland, knows that Harvey A has Percodans or whatever it is in his apartment, and B doesn't have a gun. Thanks.
That's right. And now his tenant management company is demanding that he does not have firearms.
Yep.
They don't allow firearms in any properties that they manage.
Yep.
So this is an elderly man, low income, on disability, and they're saying, well, you're poor, you can't afford your own property, you can't protect yourself.
Right. And I think that to some extent this property might be a place where people that are on some kind of assistance or another tend to be.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Is it government facility?
Well,
or?
it's government paid for.
Like Section 8 or something.
It's something like that. It's he's some kind of disabled and he gets some kind of payoff.
I think that's the point in your life where you just say, I'm going to break the law and keep a gun anyway.
Well, the difficulty,
what's going to happen? You lose an apartment or you lose your life.
Well, the difficulty is I've got little intruders at my house, too. Now, I'll grant you that they're raccoons. They're not people. But I've got to look. I've got to pay attention. So I've decided where my fields of fire are and where I can't shoot and where I can because there
you
are
don't
houses.
Have a gun, by the way. You're a felon.
I have an air rifle. And that will propel a 50 caliber pellet far enough that it can still be dangerous. And you should always pretend like your bullet's going to go straight. Like you got to keep in mind that there are other people around.
Right.
This is one of the problems with having a gun in an apartment complex. I lived in an apartment complex where the front doors were the same doors that they used on the inside. So these were hollow core doors. Tunk, tunk, tunk. You could thump it with your hand, and it's like, oh my God, anybody could kick this at any time they wanted. You can't have a gun there because if you shoot, where's
Someone's
the bullet going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make one point.
Yeah, sure.
Go right ahead.
Previously to this, another incident at night, the husband was passed out on the couch. Wife was upstairs. This guy comes into the house, goes upstairs, assaults the wife, takes off. And it's just an example of you never know what could happen. Yes, he's an elderly man, but, if he was married, someone could come in. There's a million things that could happen. And the fact is, he took action that sent a signal to the population in the area. Don't break into people's houses. They may just have a gun. But now the management's coming along and saying, well, no, he doesn't have a gun anymore.
It's completely undone that action.
Yeah, that's terrible.
They undone everything. And it's ridiculous. And then one last thing. You had a caller a few nights ago who called in, said he was a specialist. I don't remember exactly what he said he had done in the past, but he said he's very proficient in firearms. He thinks that those who are proficient should have firearms. Those who aren't shouldn't carry. I'm with the opinion everyone should carry, because if I'm in a crowded theater or if I'm in an apartment complex or whatever, and an active shooter comes in and is just laying out bullets, I would rather be shot by a good guy trying to stop the maniac than be shot by the guy who's in there trying to kill me.
I don't know what the difference would be. I have to disagree with you on that. I
don't want to be shot.
Yeah, whether you're shot by the bad guy or a good guy, I don't think is really material to how well you're going to recover from that. But as far as people not knowing what they're doing with a gun, I think that sure, anybody should be able to buy a gun, but the most responsible thing is to learn how to use your gun and go and regularly shoot it and know what you're doing with it. Know where the safety is. It's not going to do you any good to pull a gun out if you don't know how to turn the safety off or load it up.
Also, you got to be. I think that to some extent, what you need is a culture where people are. If police enforcement is somehow privatized or something like that, people would probably take their own safety into their own hands, and they'd probably train their children around firearms in a different way.
Well,
than they
Maine is one of
currently
those places, and New Hampshire is one of those places, and Vermont. These are three places where there's relative gun freedom. In fact, Maine and Vermont are actually better gun freedom places than New Hampshire. New Hampshire is actually a little behind the ball as far as having constitutional carry is concerned, and that's where anyone who is not a felon can just carry a gun concealed.
Isn't there something on the law right now that they're trying to push through about constitutional carry?
They're always
here?
trying that here in New Hampshire.
It was just passed in Maine.
Yeah,
it was passed in Maine, but
New
I feel
no.
like that they were talking about it at the NHLA dinner.
Oh, they're talking about it. They want that to happen because it looks bad that New Hampshire is not does not have constitutional carry. Hey, John, thanks for your call. Appreciate the heads up on that. Actually, Mark, you'd had that story for show prep here tonight.
Sure did. I think it's an interesting point.
It's a shame that guy is not allowed to have a gun in this apartment complex, but again, it is private property, and they can set their own rules if they want to.
But it would have been a shame if one of those bullets went awry and hit somebody in their just sleeping in their bed, too.
855 450 free. We've got tipping stories still to come here. What's your best tip story? Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
I wish I could fall asleep. Jennifer had a stressful day, and now her mind is spinning at bedtime. I have a big day tomorrow. It's time for new Unisom Sleep Minis. The tiny capsules are non-habit forming and work fast. They're the little help busy people need to get a good night's sleep and wake recharged. Good night. New Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
This is the Genesis Communications Network, GCN.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Senate Democrats have rallied the 34 votes they need to keep the Iran nuclear deal alive in Congress.
Senator Barbara Mikulski of Maryland has become the crucial 34th senator to pledge her support for the Iran nuclear agreement. The move is a major foreign policy victory for President Obama, who now has the votes he needs to uphold his promised veto of a measure to reject the Iran deal. Most Senate Republicans have said they would vote against the deal signed by Iran, the U.S., and 5 other world powers. The nuclear deal would dismantle part of Iran's nuclear program in exchange for billions of dollars in sanctions relief. The Senate votes on the deal later this month. Linda Kenyon, Capitol Hill.
A manhunt continues in the neighborhood of Fox Lake, Illinois, for 3 men suspected of gunning down a police officer. Chief George Falenko of the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force says officers are expanding their search and hoping for a break in the case.
Canvassing, talking to people in the area, reviewing those videos that somebody had asked a question about, and building leads off of that. As always, we're relying on the public, too.
The murdered officer, Lieutenant Charles Glinowitz, only provided bare-bones descriptions of the 3 men as 2 white and 1 black. Vice President Joe Biden headed to Florida, where he was sure to get a glimpse of his presidential prospects as he considers a late entry into the 2016 Democratic primaries. Political strategist Peter Fenn says Biden's wrestling with a very tough decision right now.
Joe Biden, I think, is going through a head and a heart process. In other words, this is what every candidate does, but it's probably magnified with him.
Interest in a Biden bid has intensified in recent weeks as Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton has struggled with what some Democrats consider a lackluster start to her campaign. On Wall Street, the Dow by 293 points, the Nasdaq rose 114. More on these stories at townhall.com.
2 little tablets is all it takes to get thicker, fuller hair guaranteed. Viviscal is the #1 drug-free hair growth supplement in the U.S., with 1 box being sold every minute globally. It's clinically proven, loved by celebrities, and recommended by doctors. And right now, a 90-day supply of Viviscal is being offered in your area risk-free plus free shipping. Call 800-481-7987. Viviscal nourishes thinning hair from within. It makes thin hair full hair beautiful, and promotes the growth of thicker, fuller hair guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, 96% of women would recommend it to a friend. Listen to this.
It's vibrant, shiny, bouncy, everything you want your hair to be. I love Viviscal because it works. It completely works.
Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls can try it risk-free for 90 days, plus free shipping. Get thicker, fuller hair guaranteed. Call now, 800-481-7987. 800-481-7987. That's 800-481-7987.
Amazon's futuristic dash buttons appear here to stay.
The e-commerce powerhouse expanding the number of available buttons which reorder products at just one touch. It's also making them virtually free. Last month, Amazon launched the dash buttons, adhesive buttons designed to stick on any household surface near where you may need to reorder products for about 18 brands, ranging from Bounty paper towels to Tide detergent. Bob Agnew reporting.
Officials at a New Jersey daycare center are apologizing to parents after 2 workers were accused of instigating scuffles amongst the young children as part of a fight club. Center officials say they learned of the allegations in mid-August and suspended the workers. Both were fired a short time later and are due to be arraigned Friday. Authorities say the pair instigated the fight club among children ages 4 to 6. One of the workers recorded video of the fights and shared the clips with several friends on social media. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. There are new calls for airlines to be more open about the small print before a customer buys a ticket.
Airlines should be required to disclose change and cancellation fees and the size of their seats before a customer buys a ticket. That according to a Transportation Advisory Committee which has sent those recommendations to the Federal Trade Commission. The panel stopped short of calling for minimum space requirements per passenger. Some safety experts have complained that the shrinking space between seats on airliners interferes with evacuations in the event of an emergency.
That's correspondent Wally Hines reporting. Republican presidential hopeful Mike Huckabee is supporting a Kentucky clerk's refusal to issue marriage licenses because of her opposition to same-sex marriage. In a statement, the Republican presidential candidate Huckabee says he spoke to Kim Davis to offer prayers and support. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul also expressed support for Davis. More of these stories at townhall.com.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, bed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Just recently, we've witnessed some of the most catastrophic disasters in history. Be sure to prepare yourself with great-tasting, high-quality, GMO-free food that has a 25-year shelf life. Of course, we're talking about the foods from SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. And don't forget, the human body needs up to 3 quarts of water every day to remain healthy and hydrated. So check out our water bricks at SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. Go to SurvivalFoodAlliance.com or call 877-223-1776.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can also join us on Skype. Skype username tonight, LRN.FM. We're going to come back to the tipping discussion if we get the chance. Tarrin Lupo had a couple of tipping stories. He wanted to tell one really bad customer story and then the best tip he ever received. And you are also welcome to regale us with your best tip story or the worst. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. It's Ian, Tarrin, and Mark in the studio. Let's go to the phones and to the fun first, however. Tom is listening in Rochester, Michigan. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, thanks, Ian. Hey,
Welcome.
listen, I was kind of surprised listening to you. And, you know, if Verizon gives me a phone and says you can use it as long as you're using our service, and if you want to break or at the end of the contract, we can talk about, whether we'll unlock it for you. I am surprised you support the government getting involved in that transaction. And I looked at the vote, and, people like Amash and Massey, a lot of the libertarians voted no. And I'm just thinking that's not something the government should be
Well, now hold on a second.
Let's set the stage here because I'm not entirely sure what we're talking about.
Yeah,
unlocked phones or something.
He's referring. Maybe you weren't paying attention during the call earlier, Mark. But there was a call earlier about a guy who was saying that there's some new law.
No, I'm a professional radio talk show host, and I'm trying to reset so the people who just tuned in know what the hell we're talking about.
Yes, I know what you're doing. Mark. Thank you for that. Anyway. So what happened earlier in the show, there was a guy who called in, and he said there was some law that allows phones to be unlocked, which means they could be taken to another carrier. Now, I don't have a problem with you being able to unlock a phone. That makes sense, but we didn't talk about the contractual aspect of it. If the phone company gives you a phone and then you're under a contract, then you need to stay under that contract.
Yeah, they're subsidizing it.
Once you're out, exactly. That's why they give you the phones or give you them at a discount, because you're paying for it in the long run with the contract. You're paying more for it that way. But ultimately, if you're done with your contract, you've paid that phone off. You should be able to take that phone somewhere else.
Well, you haven't paid the phone off. You've actually, used their contract. I just think
you've paid the phone off, sir.
If the cell phone company wanted to make sure that the customers were able to utilize the phone afterwards, they could make that part of the contract. But if they say, look, the phone's locked after the contract, and if you want to, negotiate something to unlock it, come to us. So I just, they get the phone and the service knowing that it's locked, and now the government is saying, no, we're not going to allow you to keep it locked. So
I don't think most people know that it's locked. I don't think they understand the ins and outs of the various different cell phone technologies.
Yeah, well, what if I unlock my phone? Should I not be able, if I've got a phone that's, I'm off contract and now I have a phone, should I not be able to, do whatever, like root a phone and then be able to run it through some other system?
Well, I just think that if you go out and buy it at Walmart and it's a phone and it's known that it's unlocked and it won't be locked, that's one thing. But if you buy it from Verizon and they say after the contract's up, it's still going to be locked, now the government says,
whose phone is it? Whose phone is it? When you've paid for the phone.
You signed a contract, though, man. If you didn't read it.
I didn't sign a contract. I signed a one-way statement that allowed me to get a damn phone. There's no contract.
Well, you're not renting. You're not leased to buy the phone.
That's exactly what that is.
Well, actually, if you'll take a look at the new contracts, that's how they lay them out. Because at this point, the competition with from like Walmart and places like that, or that are doing these $45 a month unlimited plans, has driven cell phone companies to have to compete in that arena.
True.
So and now they'll show you that you can buy a plan for $45 a month, or you can get this phone and it's $70 a month with a 2-year contract.
Right, and when you're done with
that's essentially what you're doing. You're paying off their $600 phone by $25 a month.
That's exactly what it is. They subsidize it up front.
All right. If I went to Verizon and said, okay, I'll do this for 2 years, but at the end of the contract, I want it unlocked, and they said, no, that's not our deal.
You own the phone at the end of the contract. You don't seem to understand that.
Well, you own the phone, but you know what? It was their phone. They sold it to you as part of the deal.
And if I can crack their software, then that's my damn phone to crack, isn't it?
I'm sure your car company has all kinds of long contracts when you buy their car from them. They've got proprietary software in there, but sometimes you can tweak the software to get better gas mileage or tweak it to get better off-the-line technology. Should I not be able to play with my car either?
Well, agreeing to allow government with guns to force what this contract is going to say, I don't think is a good thing. And Amash and the top libertarians in Congress.
There's no libertarian in Congress.
Okay, I don't agree. I wouldn't say that the government should be involved because the government's only going to mess it up. But I would say that in this circumstance, the government's probably feeling pressure, likely from a a congressman or a senator.
Consumer advocates. That's what it said. Consumer advocates.
Fine, it's consumer advocates. No doubt about it. They do all kinds of different stuff. I bet it's just as many. Everybody's frustrated by this because it is mafia tactics. The cell phone companies.
It's just a free market.
No, it's not free, dude.
Okay, right.
Yeah, you don't have to.
It's
sign
not
up
a
with
free
Verizon
market
and
in
sign
cell
up with-
phones. Have you ever tried putting a cell phone tower up?
Well, I'm talking about cell phone service. If you don't like Verizon locking your phone, go to somebody who won't lock.
That's great, and that's what the
at the end of the
marketplace has
contract.
done. Is it has allowed for more businesses, more cell phone companies to have the unlocked phones because of competition, because of what limited competition exists in the marketplace. And while it's true that the cell phone marketplace is less restricted than the old landline markets, which is ridiculously regulated. There's still a ton of regulations around running a cell phone companies from the FCC.
If you can't put your a tower up in your backyard, then you can't compete. And if you can't compete, that means there's a cartel.
Right.
And we know what the cartels look like because we saw what they did in the 90s and the early aughts. They had these restrictive.
That's the argument for net neutrality was cartels. So I mean, this is all can be. I don't know. Whatever. All right.
Well, I appreciate the call, Tom. Thanks for making it here tonight. But look, I understand where he's coming from. He believes that the cell phone companies have the right to control the equipment that they put out there even after you've paid it off. And I don't agree with that. I mean, if I'm buying a cell phone from a company, I don't think that they should have a say in what I do to that phone after it's out of contract.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's. Do you never own the phone?
That's what he was suggesting.
Is my old Kyocera that's sitting in there, my old Nokia that's that I've got that I've probably moved from 3 different houses?
Right.
This old brick, does it still belong to Alltel, which got bought by Sprint?
No.
Which
if it did, they'd be knocking on your door trying to get it back.
Right. I mean. They've got proprietary software in there, and if you can root the software, you should be able to do that. In the same way that if you've got a stereo that you should be able to sort of change things up, that's fine too.
I liked your car argument that you were in a lease with a car, and then when it's done, it's like, what, I can't trip out my own car? I mean,
something that does happen when you modify electronic devices like this, whether it's your PlayStation 3 or whatever it is, if you're opening up a piece of electronics,
you void the warranty.
You're voiding your warranty. Okay, and that's one of the punishments in the marketplace for being a tinkerer or one of these techno nerds that likes to do like I do and root my phones and put custom software on there. That's technically a terms of service violation. But
I've never used my warranty for any electronics. Have you guys ever sent stuff back?
I've not done it myself. Actually,
it's too much.
I take it back. I've done it on a laptop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had that Toshiba that was a real lemon.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I used it. Used their service several times.
Back when Toshiba was like the only laptop that you could get that you could rely on, Ian manages to find
get the worst
lemon.
one. So
you've got to be able to own something, right? I mean, at some point or another, if I'm carrying a cell phone around every day, and then finally the contract period's out, and I want to switch, for whatever reason, I want to keep a 2-year-old phone around, and I want to switch carriers and go to one of these off-brand carriers or whatever. I think you should be able to do that. And I can't see any reason why you shouldn't. Now, should the government be involved? No. The companies should have come to that conclusion on their own.
But wait a minute. Remember, the companies aren't even subject to true market competition. So maybe that would have happened even faster in the marketplace. It had happened, right? You acknowledged that, Mark. It had been happening. In fact, I feel like it's almost too little too late from the government in this case because Verizon just a month ago or something like that announced that they were going to be going to monthly plans. So and you can't get the subsidized phones anymore through them. You've got to buy your own phone now, apparently. Yeah. So that's the way the market's going. Verizon went that direction because of market competition, not because of the government. 855-453, and that's the limited market. It'd be nice if we actually had a true free market in communication technologies. Who knows what kind of cool stuff we'd have. Free Talk Live.
Going back to my victim saying, you cost me a lot of misery, and all total, $2,700 in doggy fees, and all it took was 1 container of Dynamite, 2 pounds, 3 ounces, and my dog has been cured. Abby's a 5-year-old Silky Terrier. She had, like, chicken pox on her belly, clusters of bumps on her back, and she was allergic to, like, 70-some-odd things. So the dermatologist, it was, oh, yeah, just keep giving her needles every 10 days. But she's not clearing up. And then it came up on my radio, Dynamite.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
And I was like, oh, that's it. I give her the Dynavite after 5 weeks. And one morning there was nothing there. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's all clear. There wasn't one blemish on her body. Her fur is beautiful. She is totally happy. She is healthy, bump-free, pimple-free, shiny, silky. It turned our lives around. So thank you very much for Dynavite. I couldn't be happier. Dynavite's the bomb.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
This is Sharon Hunt. Before using Heart and Body Extract, my energy level was very, very low. I could only walk a few feet and then would have to sit down. I was tired and lethargic. But after taking Heart and Body Extract, my energy level has improved greatly, and I can now walk longer distances without getting tired so fast. Thank you, Heart and Body Extract.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
It's time to build your own emergency food stockpile with the industry leader, My Patriot Supply. Once you try them, you'll know why so many Americans like you have made them part of their emergency preparedness plan. Experience the My Patriot Supply difference today with this unbelievable offer. Right now, a 4-week food supply is only $99, and that includes free shipping. That's 50% off the online price. Call 800-274-3070 to claim yours. Limit 2 per caller while supplies last. This offer isn't available online, so you want to make sure and grab this opportunity to get prepared today. 800-274-3070 to get your 4-week food supply for the incredible price of only $99, and it'll be shipped to you completely free. Call 800-274-3070 right now. That's 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last. Don't wait. Call today.
By now, you know the smart way to buy emergency food storage is calories per dollar. Ready Supply Foods sells you 50% more food for your money. GMO-free, 25-year shelf life, great tasting, and free shipping. You need 2,000 calories per day under ideal conditions. Most 30-day kits don't have enough calories to sustain you for more than a week. They just don't have enough nutrition to do the job. See the comparisons for yourself at ReadySupplyFoods.com. We are the new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Free Talk Live. Join us toll-free on the radio waves. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Tarrin P. Lupo,
and Mark.
Want to say big on Amazon? How about 25%? 20%, maybe even more than 25%. You can do that, no problem.
You can change your life because Amazon has just about everything you need. As a matter of fact, we've been saying that they don't have produce there. You can buy Whole Foods gift cards
Unbelievable.
On Amazon,
wow.
and there you get your produce too. We've been saying they don't have gas. Apparently, people can buy GameStop cards, and then they go to GameStop and buy Shell gas cards, and then they get their gasoline from
20% off gas?
You can
20% off
buy
food?
Everything you need to live in your life.
It's crazy.
It won't pay your mortgage, and it won't pay your electric bill, but everything you need to live your life you can buy at Amazon, and you can save 15, 20, 25, even up to 30%.
If you're saving enough on groceries, gasoline, and all that other stuff, that might just pay for your electric bill if you add it all up.
I just used it today and got something. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Saveatpurse.com. You go and get started there. Sign up through our link, which is saveatpurse.com. And Free Talk Live will get a very small amount of each of your purchases from there then on. Oh, here's the catch. Because you really can save 20% or more on everything at Amazon, almost everything at Amazon. The catch is you have to have Bitcoin. You have to use Bitcoin to do this. So if you don't yet have Bitcoin, you can go to expresscoin.com and get some. And then when you get it, go to saveatpurse.com and get started over there. It's real easy. You just watch their video and it'll explain it all to you. So let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. More tipping stories still to come here tonight. Dave is on the line in New York. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Tarrin, and Mark. Hello, Dave.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's on your mind, Dave?
Okay. There is this BS board that people are on there constantly making fun of me, and I am sick of it. I have called local police. I have called cybersecurity, and I plan on getting this place shut
Which
down.
board is it now? Which board?
It's called Dick Suckers or something.
Oh, you
I don't
can't
know.
say
It's
that
a
on the
BS.
radio. We're going to hit the dump button on that one. Yeah, you really, you can say the D word in certain circumstances, but not in the circumstance of sexual activity. So just for future reference to anybody out there.
Substitute the word Richard.
Right. You can refer to, say, Dick Nixon.
That's right.
Who was
Or my favorite politician, Dick Armey.
You can
It's fun to say that one.
Say them all the time. Say that all the time. It's not a big problem. But when you cannot refer to sexual acts.
Exactly. So Dave normally calls and complains about people making fun of him online.
Dave perceives somebody on the internet as having done something to him, when in fact Dave doesn't understand general etiquette rules, and he goes and badgers the heck out of people until they're mean to him.
Well, right. And it's not like Dave just signs up for a forum and people start being mean to him for no reason. It's Dave who's creating this experience for himself by being just an awful person online, and so he gets back what he puts into the universe.
Well, I'm new to the show, and I've already had enough experience where Dave had a beef with someone that had a podcast, and then the guy called in. Do you remember that from the podcast?
Yes, purportedly.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, wow.
Yeah, he takes this stuff real seriously, and I'd like to recommend to anybody out there on the internets, try not to take it too seriously. Most of these people who are arguing with you, you'll probably never meet them in real life. They are just, trolls. They're trying to get a reaction out of you.
And honestly, it feels good to just step away from social media. I shut down my Facebook.
How long has it been now since you've been on? Congratulations.
I've been coming up a year, and it is the most freeing thing.
I love that you've been able to do that successfully, Tarrin.
And I get so much pressure. Like every other week, I can't tell you how many times Johnson told me, you know it if you're on Facebook. It's like, you know what, man?
But there's
I'm
so much
free without it.
There's so much you don't know if you are on Facebook.
That's true. I miss a lot.
But what I mean, no. That's not what I mean. No. I said there's so much you don't know if you're on Facebook. Okay, so what I mean
Explain what you mean.
What I mean by that is Facebook has so much going on. There's pages, and there's groups, and there's posts, and there's all kinds of different things that you can like and you can join, and Facebook doesn't give you all of the information from those things unless you go through extra hoops. So let's say you really like Free Talk Live and you hit the like button on our Facebook page. That's cool. We appreciate you doing that. But unfortunately, you still won't see everything we post. You'll see a fraction of the things that we post. You'll only see the things that we post if Facebook's algorithm determines that you should see it. And generally, their algorithm determines about 2% of a page's likes, from what I understand. And they change these rules all the time. But, a very small fraction of the page's total likes will actually see the post that the page makes. So you have to go through extra step, and almost no one knows about this, to hover over the like button. And again, they change these rules all the time. The last time I've seen this, you hover over the like button, then it allows you to select get notifications. Then you'll become more likely. And I don't even know if it's then 100%.
Right, you're more likely. I just wanted to make sure that you had phrased that properly. You're not going to get every update, even if you go get notifications.
And
you'll get more.
This is a big reason why I left Facebook is, it was really good for business. I made a lot of money selling books on it in 2010. 11, and then these rules kind of all the free stuff stopped, and you instead had to pay to reach people.
But ultimately, that's what
it's
it comes down to, right? They're an ad venue.
Yeah, but Google's an ad venue too, or YouTube is an ad venue too, and they do it opposite.
Right, with YouTube, when you hit subscribe, you will not miss a video.
Correct.
It will show you every video that channel posts on your subscription list.
YouTube's a much better model as far as that goes, that I don't think it will destroy itself like Facebook will.
So Facebook,
I see it as just a Rolodex of your friends eventually, that it'll get to the point where you can't see anything you really want to see and people will tire of it.
It's good for some things, but usually the only things it's good for are because everyone's there. Because there are so many people there is the only reason why Facebook wins in a lot of ways. It's not because it's a better platform. It's not because they have more options. It's not because they're better designed or programmed or anything like that. It's just where the people are.
For business, I wouldn't touch it anymore. It's not worth my time. Google Plus is superior
well, that's
for
interesting.
business-wise.
You're going to have to tell me how you do it.
Because I do really well on Google Plus.
Let's go to Nick. He's in Boston. Nick, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Tarrin, and Mark. Actually, nope, Nick is not on right now because, my internet just died. We've been having trouble here over the last few nights. And
what's going on with that?
I don't know. I will have to spend some more time trying to figure that out. I think we actually have Nick here, and hopefully our board operator will be able to end the call because I have no way of taking in any calls.
I can hear him.
Yeah, I know he's there. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, I consider myself a little bit of a Dave expert. I've been following Dave on the internet for almost a decade now, and I'm a member of the, it's actually the Death Squad. I know Dave called us something else, but the DS, it's actually a group of people who are just sort of fascinated by Dave. And
There's a Dave forum now?
Well, there's a message board, the Death Squad message board, but it's sort of about how we're all fascinated by Dave, and some of us are like friendly with Dave, some of us are Dave's like arch enemy, like Mike H is Dave's worst enemy on the internet. Dave has called the police saying like, "There's this guy called Mike H on the internet. Go get him."
I bet the police love him.
How do you know that he has actually called the police? Have the police actually called you?
Oh, yeah, the police have called me a couple times about Dave, like for pranking his brother, actually. But, yeah, the state
That's
police
amazing.
from New
There's a
York have
Dave
called me.
message board. Thanks, Nick. It's Free Talk Live.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free tactical scarf for a limited time with any body armor package. That's CATIarmor.com. Come and take it.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Ah.
When your child has a sore throat, you need to know when to get help. The doctor recommended Say Ah Sore Throat Exam is your solution. The scientifically designed oral retractor offers a clear view of the throat, relaxing the tongue and minimizing gag reflex. Compare with the medical grade chart, website, and app. Then you'll know just what to tell your doctor. A wellness plan in your hands in minutes. Go to SayAHHnow.com. SayAhNow.com, the new mainstay for every family's first aid kit.
Many are in disbelief today after word of shocking allegations against a Minnesota-based talk syndication company known as GCN. It's claimed that they're the fourth largest talk syndication company in the U.S., making it even more scandalous that they've been accused of helping business owners expose themselves on a massive scale. Let's go live to Tom for more on this story.
It's being called the greatest exposure of our lifetime, while other business owners are beginning to step forward claiming they too exposed themselves with the help of GCN.
It's true, they're all guilty, every last one of them. GCN helped me get the exposure my company needed, and just think, that was years ago. Today, GCN has like 700 affiliate stations and over 6 million downloads from iTunes and their website every month.
Imagine the exposure your company can get. Expose your business to the masses. Email advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective. GCN.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It is Free Talk Live, and you may bring up anything you want right here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian.
Tarrin P. Lupo.
And Mark.
Tarrin's here courtesy of his website, TarrinLupo.com. Sometimes websites go astray, though, as well as all kinds of other IT-related stuff.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens. And if you've got a business, you know IT can be a real problem. Unreliability, unpredictability. Usually it just takes forever to get something done with your IT, but it doesn't have to be that way. IT can serve your needs. Rootwork Infotech helps businesses achieve always-on reliability. They're nerds who know business, and Rootwork can make IT meet your needs. To prove it, they will give you 30 minutes on the phone with one of their senior consultants for free. So they're already helping you solve problems right away for 30 minutes on the phone. All you have to do is go to rootwork.it/FTL. Now, the reason we're not giving out a telephone number here is we're talking about IT. If you can't go to rootwork.it/FTL on the internet, you're unqualified for this ad anyway. So,
is it vetting?
Yes, this is vetting. ROOT, rootwork.it/FTL.
All right, so you can join us here. Share your best tipping story as a server, somebody who has worked in the hospitality, the service industry. You did this, Tarrin.
Yes, many years.
And you had for us, we started this discussion in the first hour of the show, and we're going to pick it up now. So, strangest customer, you were going to give us that story, and then the best tip.
Strangest customer. Okay, now remember, I'm at a cheap buffet place. It's Bob's Big Boy, if you guys know what that is in the South. It's called Shoney's up north, I guess, too. And it's
There's
basically...
no Shoney's up north. That's a southern chain, too.
What do you guys have that's equivalent? Denny's, maybe?
Shoney's was a Denny's competitor for a long time.
Something like that. Well, it was this deal where it was a lot of cheaper food, and it was buffet certain times of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't get the highest paying customers or the highest class. A lot of families would come in that would trash the place.
Oh, boy.
The most interesting is I worked the drunk graveyard shift, and one guy that would come in at night would come in with his own, it was like a red Solo cup, and he would hide it. And as he sat down, all he would go to the bar and get was breads. And then he would reach into the cup, put something in the bread, and eat it. And then he'd reach in the cup and put something in the bread and eat it. And it took us, I mean, he came in all the time, and it took me a little while to figure out what he was doing. I finally looked in the cup, and it was nails, bolts, and screws. He was eating pieces of metal. And I have heard of this condition being a doctor where people have this urge to eat metal.
What?
And my friends didn't believe me, so I had them come in one night, and we all watched him sat there, and after a while he got comfortable doing it, and he would just eat screws in front of people and nails and stuff. And this guy came in for years. I was like, how could he not be dead?
He's got to be passing them, right?
I guess. And all he ate was bread and meat.
If you're eating that many screws and nails, then, those are going to go through you at some point, because otherwise you'd have a big collection of screws and nails in your stomach.
Right. That whole myth about gum sticking into your insides for 7 years, it doesn't. The screws, the nails, and the gum, they're all coming out.
Do you remember the length? I mean, were they little tiny?
They were small ones,
okay.
Yeah. Like, he would eat, I saw him eat lots of tacks. I saw him eat bolts.
Wow.
I just don't understand how he didn't puncture something, but he must, maybe the bread? I don't know. But
it's not the bread.
No, that bread ain't going to make it through your stomach acid, but I imagine steel would make it through stomach acid.
People thought I was making this up until I made them come watch, and we all just were like, no
Somebody should have
way.
Stomach acid doesn't burn steel
This was
beams.
the day before cell phones, or it would have been on YouTube for sure.
Right. I mean, it's a shame that...
This was like 1980,
This guy could have monetized this, right? Like,
he probably is somewhere at some freak
He's
show.
hiding it at Shoney's Big Boy.
Oh, my gosh. That was the craziest one I used to get.
Imagine the kind of money that he could have made just doing bar bets with people.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Throw out some tacks on the bar table. Like, I'll bet you $100 that I can eat 5 of those tacks or whatever. Oh, yeah, right.
He could have
kill
used
yourself,
it.
son.
And, he was a pretty normal-looking guy. It wasn't like you'd
Not like
expect some homeless dude with a beard and, no. It was
He wasn't reeking of alcohol or anything like that.
I can't remember that, but I do remember it being like, so that's what was in the Solo cup. Like, he'd see him come in all the time and hide this thing. He'd reach into his jacket. He had it hidden in his jacket.
And he's just buying bread, or he's just getting bread from the
buffet.
buffet.
Like, you could have done that at home.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things you can buy at a buffet, or that you can load your plate up with, right?
I don't know why he had the urge to eat it in public. I don't know.
Or why he's bothering just to hide it in bread.
All right, that's a good crazy customer story.
Best tip I ever got. Now, remember, I'm like 16. I got a $100 tip once.
Wow.
Because this guy was eating with his teenage son, and he said, I just want you to know that I just became a millionaire.
Whoa.
And
he wanted you to know, the waiter?
He said, I want you to know that we're celebrating. I just became a millionaire, and he just gave me a $100 tip.
Wow.
He's like, this is proof. And he showed it, and I was like, congratulations. Right on, man.
Indeed. Congratulations, indeed.
And that was it. I thought it was, all the other waiters were so jealous I got the table. They were so mad. I was like, hey, man, once in a while you get lucky.
Yeah, every now and then.
And so...
Yeah, that's all it was. I mean, it was luck. Somebody was going to get it.
Yep. And this guy just wanted to feel like a millionaire. Just was like, hey, I'm going to tip someone $100 just so I can feel rich.
So if you got a good tipping story or a crazy customer story, you can call in here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
So I worked as a waiter for a period of time, too, and right after getting out of prison. Actually, not getting out of prison, while I was in work release. So I'm actually in prison working as a waiter.
You're going back and checking in for the night?
Yep, so going to sleep. Basically, if I wasn't at work, I needed to be there. And I asked for the split shifts and everything, right? Like, so I want to get to work as early as possible, leave as late as possible, and
just go back and sleep.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. So one point or another, I just kind of connected with this customer. This man and his wife, we were talking, and he began to ask me about me, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a whole bunch of lies prepared for him, so I'm just like, well,
where are you from? Cell Block D.
Right, I'm in prison. I'm just recently got out of prison, or I am work release now, or whatever. I told him specifically, and. He was being very kind about it, kind of understanding. He gave me his card and said, "Hey, when you get out, get in touch with me. Maybe I'll be able to
work.
Hook you up with a job." And then he gave me a $20 tip.
Sweet.
That's great.
And before that, I'd been sort of hiding the fact that I was in prison.
Yeah, I would have played that angle all the time after that.
Suddenly, I'm in work release, right? If anybody asks, that's how things are going. That was my best story. Not as good as the guy who eats nuts and bolts, no.
But that was your best tipping story.
That's the best tipping story.
Crazy customer?
Okay, so I'm going to go crazy, weird, dumb. This man and his wife come in, and she orders, he orders some drink, and she orders an Asti. We had Asti Spumante on the menu. So I went and got his drink, and I brought her back an Asti Spumante. And she said, I didn't order this. I don't know what? I ordered an iced tea. Oh, an iced tea. And so I went back. I'm terribly sorry. I removed her Asti Spumante, and I returned with an iced tea. And these people, they literally did not tip me. This was one of the few times that I've been stiffed as a waiter. Now, I took it away and came back. I heard Asti. And I had people order.
It's a heavy Southern accent, is what you.
Right, and I'm sorry that I'm sorry you can't communicate in English to a person who is from the South. I am from the South. I was born in Florida, and I'm sorry you didn't communicate with me. But I fixed that right up for you as quickly as I could.
Wow.
And these skinflint a-holes stiffed me on what it would have been, $3 or $4 tip. Big fat hairy deal. Somebody makes a mistake.
Wow.
A couple of jerks.
All right, we've got enough time for you if you want to share your story with us. Maybe you've worked in service, hospitality industry. Share your worst customer story, crazy customer. Bad tippers are also welcome, and good tipping. 855-450-FREE. We've got time for you here on Free Talk Live.
If you own a business, you know incorporating can be a smart way to protect yourself and your assets. So the question is, why haven't you incorporated your business yet?
My business? It's too small.
Wrong. No matter how small your business, you run the risk of losing all your personal assets, your car, your home, even your entire life savings if you're not incorporated.
Incorporating is very complicated.
Actually, incorporating is easy and fast. You can do it in just 10 minutes. Call now for your free guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-8645.
I need a lawyer to incorporate. That's really expensive.
You don't need a lawyer, and we don't offer legal or financial advice. Incorporate.com is a service company whose only mission is helping people like you incorporate safely, easily, and quickly. Find out how simple it is to protect your family and personal assets by incorporating. Call now for your free guide. 1-800-945-8645. 1-800-945-8645. That's 1-800-945-8645.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. Libertyoncall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. libertyoncall.org. Call today.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in here. Toll free. We got enough time for you, even in the remaining moments of the show, which are happening now. Our toll free number is 855-450-FREE. We also have Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. That toll-free number again, 855-450-3733. We've been talking about customer experience stories from the side of the sales side, from the waiter's side, from the customer service side. And there's just so many of these stories. I mean, we have a few of them here in the studio, but anybody who's worked with the public for more than a day probably has some kind of outrageous story of people behaving badly or whatever.
It's strange to me because people go out and it's like when they go to a restaurant, they no longer look at their servers as people. I can't believe what passes sometimes. I've seen people be so rude to their servers, like completely ignore them like they're not even people, just shut up and bring me my stuff. I'm busy.
That's an old trick, right? You can, if you want to know what somebody's personality is like, you take them out to a dinner and you see how they treat their server.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's
you
brilliant.
want to know if you want to hire somebody or you want to know if you want to date somebody or whatever. How do they treat the server?
Wow, that's
genius. I think
genius.
that is generally good, but I would also warn you that a person who eats out a great deal, humans are great at seeing patterns, but it's one of our biggest downfalls too. So what they'll do is they'll just sort of make assumptions based on things that they've experienced, notable things they've experienced. Notable things tend to be either very, very good or very, very bad. And so if they decide to lump servers together, or maybe servers in a certain type of restaurant, or people who are behind the cash registers in fast food restaurants, or maybe fine dining restaurants, they might have stories that they've created in their own mind, because humans are pattern recognizers, that sort of color the experience they've had. I mean, we've all had bad serving experiences. Some people frankly get a job as a server and they're unqualified to do it. They are the worst server in the restaurant. And they might, give you bad service. That bad service is notable or whatever. So the way you deal with the next server is going to be changed by that, right?
That's unacceptable. You should be able to judge people individually.
Wait 1 second. Let me give you an example. So I have a severe allergy to caffeine.
Okay.
Bad things happen when I get caffeine. I make it very, very clear to the person who I am ordering coffee from that I need decaffeinated coffee.
Yeah.
And some of them consider it rude.
Some of the servers consider
Some of the servers, right? Like, it's like, hey, what do you think I can understand instructions? Right? Like, they literally are rude about me trying to make sure, look, this is my health we're talking about
You
here.
can come at that from a different perspective, right? Like, you can come at that from being rude to the server, like just treating them like they're dirt and that, they don't understand what you're saying. Or you can come at them from a perspective of, hey, look, this is really important to me.
Right, if you said it in a demeaning way.
I attempt to do that. And like human beings, especially human beings who have never spoken to each other before, there's going to be sometimes the puzzle pieces aren't going to fit together exactly right. All I want to do is make clear is that it ain't just customers here.
Oh, no
right?
doubt.
We're all customers of servers, so this is a general interest show, so we should be mainly talking to customers. But
no, actually,
there's
we're
a
talking
lot
with
of
servers
really jerky servers out there, too.
Yeah, and I don't think you should tip those people that really... I'm a very good tipper because I believe in karma on, I worked in the industry, so I tip well. I understand what it's like to be on the other side, but I also don't tolerate crappy service. If I get bad service, man, I don't tip, and I tell them why I'm not tipping.
See,
that's important.
I would love to. I just don't have the emotional energy to tell somebody why they're getting. I would rather give them, a low to market rate tip than have a conversation with a person about why they're getting a bad tip.
Actually, I usually do it with the manager. I'll still leave a small tip, and I'll say, I go to the manager, and I don't like directly confronting
I'd rather
them.
have a comment card or something like that.
Yeah, that would be the best way.
But I also leave comment cards, positive ones for good service too.
Oh yeah, and I think that's really important. I go to the internet, and I actually do comment on when I get outstanding service. I think that's huge. It makes the server feel really good.
Yeah, I totally agree.
The other good thing is to actually walk up and talk to their manager and say, "This server is excellent," and let them hear it, and it makes their whole day, man. Even if they don't care about the tip, they feel really good about.
Look, Mark, I wasn't saying there aren't bad servers. I was just saying that this is a kind of a thing you can do. If you're taking somebody out to dinner, is observe how they treat the help. If they treat them like there's some kind of dirt beneath the sole of their shoe, and you can get a feel for how somebody is feeling towards somebody by the way they treat them.
That's genius. I never even thought of that.
That's a way to kind of cross that person off your list. Oh. So that's all I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I want people who don't understand how I communicate to cross me off their list. Like, I can tell you that I've been called arrogant many times in my life.
Yeah.
It's probably true. But if you can't handle a little bit of arrogance, if you can't handle somebody who's confident in their life, you can't handle a certain level of vanity, you probably shouldn't hang out with me.
Yeah, and there's enough people in the world that, you don't need to hang out with people you don't make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you only need 2, 3, 4 good friends. Really, come on.
Eventually, all you'll need is a robot, according to The Sun.
Nice lead.
Over in the UK. And this is a sort of a retread of a story that we covered about a year ago, but this is a newer poll. In fact, in the story we covered a year ago, it was a higher percentage. But right now, at around 15%, I think it was actually the U.S., maybe it was around 20% or 25%, but around 15% of British men would consider a romantic relationship with a robot. And I think by romantic relationship, no, they weren't just talking about sex. Here we go. The chaps who would be up for courting a bot believed they could have a, quote, fulfilling emotional relationship, unquote, with a lifelike machine.
15%?
That's right.
Okay.
However, the Sky News poll found only 2% of women would date a droid. Top academic Dr. Helen Driscoll believes humans having sex
Sounds like there's going to be competition for women to start being nicer to their men.
Top academic Helen Driscoll believes humans having sex with robots could become the norm in 50 years. She claims advances in technology will change the way we interact with robots in the coming decades, and that virtual reality could soon mimic and even improve on sex with a human.
What was that pet? Wasn't there like a thing called a Furby or something like that?
There was.
That was basically this pet that you gave to kids to see whether or not they'd kill a puppy. That kind of thing.
No, the Furby.
I didn't realize that was what that was.
You might be confusing the Furby with a Tamagotchi.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, the Tamagotchis.
I might very well be
the keychain ones.
Yeah.
The kid had to feed it.
The
or
Tamagotchi
die.
was a digital pet that you had to feed.
Yeah, you had to feed it on a regular basis and do these sorts of things to it. And I mean, if people can have digital pets, if digital pets could be popular, I don't see why digital boyfriends and girlfriends wouldn't, significant others wouldn't be popular either. I mean, when you're talking about I can be a big, fat, hairy, obese individual, which would be a lot easier than what I'm attempting to lose weight right now. I could do that and then have the hottest, a female robot that's just the hottest thing around that tells me how awesome I am. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to catch on.
I can't imagine how. I mean, I would sign up for that in a minute when it came out just to have. I don't know. It's so. Man, I'm torn because it's like you could have this unbelievable girlfriend that does everything and looks exactly how you want, but then are you going to miss the real life factor? And I think
Who knows?
They'll end up being a combination of both. You'll have your sex girlfriend, your robot girlfriend or whatever,
and
then
the
a
people
real
you
life
hang out with.
And then a real life girlfriend.
I'm surprised that the ladies on this one. Ladies, let me step down here for a second. Yeah, the ladies, only 2% said they would go for the robot boyfriend. Really, ladies, you're the only reason that men are still around. We're the vestigial gender. We are of no use. You can earn the same amount of money that we earn. Basically, the only thing that men are good for is killing bugs, reaching tall things, moving heavy objects now and then, furniture, that kind of thing, and the occasional sexual interlude.
Opening jars. Men are generally better at that.
You can get one of those little rubber things, and
those are awesome.
Yeah, my wife can open just about any jar every now and then. I'm going to have to open a jar. But honestly, and a lot of ladies...
The other tip with jars is if you actually heat the top up, like run it under the water or whatever, and then you use the little rubber thing.
If you think how much trouble having another person live in your domicile is, and then you weigh that against jar opening, you're like, I'm going to figure out a way to open a jar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean,
the robot will open the damn jar.
The robot will pop that baby right open.
Yeah.
Well, but think about how many men, when they get annoyed, they just want to be left alone, and how great it would be to just be like, robot, leave me alone for a day. Just turn off the robot.
Shut down.
And I think that would go real well with a lot of guys, especially since men are kind of socially retarded anyway.
I had a good friend of mine, his girlfriend said, you see how the dog reacts when I get home? You should react the same way. And he didn't break up with her immediately, which would have been my advice. But, ladies, the man can act like the dog when you come home. He'll be that excited if you get a robot.
That's right.
All your fantasies will come true. This is the wave of the future.
So the robot expert here, Helen Driscoll, says this is coming in the next 50 years. She says if we think back to the social norms about sex that existed just 100 years ago, it's obvious that they have changed rapidly and radically. Robophilia may be alien now, but it could be normal in the near future as attitudes evolve with technology. Yeah, that percentage is likely going to go up as soon as those guys see their first hottie robot. We'll see you tomorrow night. freetalklive.com.
Program.
I wish I could fall asleep. Jennifer had a stressful day, and now her mind is spinning at bedtime.
I've been lying here forever.
It's time for new Unisom Sleep Minis. The tiny capsules are non-habit forming and work fast. They're the little help busy people need to get a good night's sleep and wake recharged.
Good night.
New Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
We are the Genesis Communications Network, GCN.